Entertainment news today. You're such a dragon gay. Everything sucks and it's no good. That comes out of Hollywood. There's one place you can go to get all your news and info, and maybe even have a laugh or two. You know it's true. Midnight Edge after dark is life. We stand for nerds and geeks, we will survive. From Star Wars to Jurassic Park, it's Midnight Edge after dark. All those bombs and flops, but MEAD never stops. We will keep going through the night as we keep up the culture fight. Midnight Edge after dark is life. We stand for nerds and geeks, we will survive. From Star Wars to Jurassic Park, it's Midnight Edge after dark.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for Midnight's Edge After Dark. It is Thursday, the last Thursday of February. We have Six here with us. How you doing?
Wonderful. How are you?
Full of wonder.
Excellent. I'm not full of anything because I just dropped some wonder.
You cut out there. I'm thinking you said something about dropping a deuce.
Well, never mind. If I have to explain my joke, it's
you
not
said
funny
something
anymore.
about, no, you literally cut out on my end. I don't know if anybody else heard her.
Why
but it was
did I
like,
fucking
drop
cut out?
And then it was like, okay.
I thought it was funny when I said it, but never mind. I'm doing fine.
No, I didn't hear what you said. It literally cut out for me.
Nothing of interest.
Did everybody? Did she cut out for everybody else or just me?
Can anybody hear me?
I can hear you.
Her.
What did she say?
Nothing. I didn't say anything. Nick, how are you doing?
I'm doing
Hey,
pretty good. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing fantastic, Nick.
Oh, that's great to hear. I'm happy that you're here. You think tonight's going to be a good show? It's about Gene Hackman.
I'm about to warm up some Chef Boyardee.
Oh, that
I
sounds
can't see you
delightful.
eating Chef Boyardee, Price.
I'm Nick. I was supposed to be Nick. Nick is eating it.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say that don't sound right.
Just put some Chef Boyardee on the stove, and I can't wait. It's going to be huge.
I don't know if Nick would either. Maybe.
I'm about to eat some beefaroni.
Would you eat beefaroni, Nick?
No, I did when I was a kid, but no. It was funny that Price did that and he was out. It was funny.
Not many
I'm always
people eat
making
that
you eat like
garbage.
rotten stuff.
No, he eats cereal and pizza. That's about it as far as the bad stuff that I know of.
He does like beef pizza.
I do see a few other things in the world, but those are like my main ingredients. Like back then I used to have so much dew. You know, they say your body's made of water. My body's probably made of Mountain Dew back in the day because of 2-liter Tuesdays.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Price is here as well. I think you already said hello. One of y'all did for each other. And we also have Script Doctor for the first time in a long time. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Been super busy, but happy to have found some time to come hang out with you gentlemen and lady tonight.
Nice.
There's a lady here? Oh, shit. That's right. Six
He's
is
such a fucker.
I know I can be. And it's somebody's birthday today.
Is he around?
He has to reboot.
His channel's
Like he
having
is
trouble getting it up, so he has to slide on, put it back in.
We'll have to do it again later.
I
All
like
right.
that song,
Anyhow,
though.
that's the Fiesta version.
Yeah.
He needs to restart, he says. All right. And I don't know, is this true? Grand Admiral Adams says 6 isn't a lady, she is more like a dudette. Is she?
I think I can be a lady.
You're
What's a
very
lady?
ladylike. What's a woman? I don't even know if we can answer that anymore.
I don't know.
We got
Human female.
Mr. Tickle Trunk's been here for 44 friggin' months. Thank you for that, Mr. TT. Appreciate that. And Captain Fandom Nerd also been here for 40.
Hey, Captain.
2 months away from knowing everything. Patrick Robinson sends in $4.99, says, what is your take on the Epstein file situation? Some people are really upset. They think we've been duped. Well, my understanding is it's coming out in 3 parts, and I think it's stupid. And everything's going to be so redacted, I don't even know if we're really going to get much out of it anyway. I don't know what you guys think about it, but I haven't really been able to really look into what we did get yet.
I haven't seen anything of it yet. I do hope the whole list is released. I hope there's more context to it, because I do know one person that was invited on a trip and then ended up going to Epstein Island. And as soon as he saw what was going on there, he chartered a boat off the island and then reported it to the authorities. And thankfully, he's still alive. And I would not be surprised if there's other people that were in similar situations to that. But I would hate it if he was accused of something he didn't do because his name happens to be on a flight record. Because, again, I'd rather have the evidence and then go to trial than use the court of public opinion based on conjecture and assumptions.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to, context is key. Anybody else want to take that one on?
I
don't believe anything I say on the internet anymore.
Yeah, I'm waiting. To me, this only matters if all details are released. And now I don't put it past our corrupt bureaucrats, FBI, and any other 3-letter agencies to try to withhold stuff. That sounds right in line and on brand for them. Still, they need to get this out there. And I hate the idea of 3 phases, but I will forgive it only if it ends up being all the details 100%, even though we should just get it all in one. It makes no sense to roll
the New
it
York
out
Ghost released some names. I don't know if it means anything, if I can even trust it, but it says Mick Jagger, Michael Jackson, Alec Baldwin, the mother of Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Ethel Kennedy, Naomi Campbell, Courtney Love.
It's my understanding that nothing that was released today was new.
Also, the question is, and I have to be fair here, were all of these on the island? You know, what were they doing there? I want to believe that maybe, regardless of how I feel about some of these people, one way or another, I want to believe that. I want to believe that, you know, it doesn't mean that anybody that's on the list automatically did that thing. It's not a good look that they're on it, but I just don't know.
It's not a good look, but technically speaking, it is not illegal to board a plane and go to another place.
That's true. That's why you still gotta prove that someone's actually
actual action.
You can. It's not about what you know; it's about what you can prove. And it doesn't take being a lawyer to know or say that. It's just the facts of life.
And the other part too, you also have to take into the context is that it's getting more information is being released to. It looks like that Epstein might have been using this as a form of entrapment and extortion. So it's basically like, who's dumb enough to have followed through with it to its conclusion, and who was smart enough to get the heck out of Dodge when they saw, you know, the forest for the trees.
Yeah.
Are you with us, Mike?
Test.
Yes, you're back.
We can hear you.
Oh my God, I could hear everything. I heard the birthday song. I saw the dance. I just couldn't turn this fucking. I think that's my cable.
All right, I'll go get the stripper back.
Wait, what? I didn't see
Bring her back.
He already untied her.
I thought he was gone.
And I just want to assure, Tom, can you make me full screen? For
Pedro will be right back.
I have a statement that I'd like to share with your viewers. Mexican Iron Man is here to assure the Midnight's Edge and MEAD public, all the supporters, and everyone that's been watching Mexican Iron Man on Twitter and YouTubes that Mexican Iron Man is not concerned with the release of any information out of Washington. There will be no familiar Mexican Iron cell phone numbers, no logs, and you can rest assured that the confidence that you've had in Mexican Iron Man's moral fiber and character shall endure. And yes, thank you very much. Thank you. That's my public service. Thank you.
That was really weird and awkward, but okay. Thank you for that, Mike.
I just don't want your viewers to wonder, you know.
Yeah.
Because I'm not that kind of guy.
We weren't until you brought it up.
Wait, what?
Exactly.
Wait, what?
We didn't worry about it till you brought it up. Now we're starting to wonder why.
Oh, come on.
I
I live on Hilton Head Island. You know what the average age of the average single gal is where I live? It's like 83. I'm not kidding. You think I'm kidding? I'm not.
So sure things you're telling me.
Yeah.
I was going to go to Mexican Iron Man Island, but then he disappeared, so I never went.
Iron Man Island.
Mexican Iron Man Island is the reverse. Like on Mexican Iron Man Island, I'm the hot young thing in Mexican
It's
Iron
just
Man.
all old people. Yeah.
Yes. I'm the hot young stallion on the island. Yep. Wow, dead silence and crickets. Good job, team. Wow.
No,
We're not arguing
Someone
against
could have
you.
said, no, Mike, you are a strapping young man, and but you know there was room for their compliment.
Do you want me to show everybody what you're going to wear for your birthday? That's what I thought. All right.
I don't even know what you're talking about. Oh,
The picture
shit,
you
the
sent
picture-
me earlier.
Oh my God, we have stories. What's our first story?
I love how he does this shit and then he forgets.
Oh my God, a tragedy struck the entertainment world
Yes.
today.
Yes, it did. And we got Lost for Words, who gifted 5 Midnight's Edge memberships. Thank you for that. We also have Daryl Brewer, has been a member for 43 months. Thank you for that. And we also have D-Bud, who brings up that they want a list of visitors to Mexican Iron Man Island. I know Chado, Paulie, and Nick of Echo Base Not Wiser are on it. Script, have you been there yet?
No, might be able to swing out to Hilton Head and hopefully before the end of summer.
I'm hoping to get out there in the next few months myself, but yeah, I haven't talked to Mike much about it yet. But I'm post list, so all the shenanigans have been put aside. There you go. No more shenanigans, Mike. All right, so with that,
If Tam actually comes to visit me, like I'm gonna chain him to like
What?
it's gonna, he's never gonna leave. He's gonna check into this hotel.
Wow.
Hotel.
This took a really kinky
He's
turn.
gonna check into the
That's a good
hotel.
turn.
He's gonna check into Hotel South Carolina and never leave. You know what I mean?
What's going to
Wow.
happen to all this physical
Wow.
media? He'll have to get that shipped.
I'm gonna sell. Are you kidding? I'm gonna sell his physical media. That's a quick $3 million I can bank.
You need to
So,
send a private jet to pick me up. If you have an island, like you have to pick me up with a private jet, Mikey.
Dude, I'm gonna pick you up with a golf cart. That's what I have. I don't have a jet. I got a golf cart. I can handle the golf cart. Calm down with your private jet, buddy.
all right. Well,
Need a
we got
private
some more
jet.
super chats, and we'll get to them here momentarily. Let's get in. Oh wait, Action Com's got a funny one here.
Oh my
It
gosh.
says, is it Boyardee or Boyardee? What is it, Scribe? Is it Boyardee or Boyardee?
I can answer that. I can actually.
RD.
I actually, for some reason, can answer this. What happened is that the chef's name was Boyardee, like BOI, I think YARDI or something, but nobody knew how to say it. So that's why they told him you have to change it so Americans will know how to say it. So that's why it says Boyardee.
You see, I was going to try something in a completely stereotypical Italian accent, but then Price stepped all over me. So thanks, Price.
Oh, sorry. No, go on. You can do it.
No, it's fine. Hey, it's a Boyardee.
Well, that's good. It
We
doesn't.
can't serve this crap to Italians, but we can serve it to
Hey,
Americans.
what is it? Hey, what is it? That's Chef the Boyardee.
It's not real food.
No.
Mamma mia.
Mamma mia. I wouldn't give it to my Mamma mia, no.
The story of Chef Boyardee is
killer.
actually fascinating. This was like 100
Uh-oh.
years ago or whatever. And at the time, People loved his pasta, whatever he was doing in his store. And
Yeah, at his restaurant or whatever.
his
He had great
restaurant.
food, supposedly, but yeah.
So they wanted to take it with them, and he started letting them like take food with them, and that's how they suddenly, at the time, they came up with those cans and canned food and things like that. And he ended up being like a pioneer of
They've
crappy
been bought out
canned
like
food.
5 times over, and now it's just basically ketchup and noodles.
I wonder if the original one
that was a
good.
Goodfellas line. That was a Goodfellas line right there.
Was it really?
Yeah, at the very end of the thing when he's talking about he ordered like pasta and marinara sauce or something, and he basically get ketchup and noodles.
I've seen the movie a million times. I probably vicariously just sucked it in.
All right. Well, I thought you were making a deep cut reference there.
I may have been like
but
just pulling it from my subconscious. Yeah.
The big question is, do you think that the first Chef Boyardee canned food was good?
No.
I bet he sent it home with him in jars at first. And I think because I think I seen a video about it. And then, then they got with a canning company. The original stuff was probably really good. Honestly, I think it was probably decent shit up through the 80s. And then when they started using so much crap in it and fake meat and fake other things. And yeah, because I mean, I even remember a time when SpaghettiOs used to have not just regular tomato sauce, but cheese sauce, like cheesy tomato sauce. And they tasted a whole lot better and different than they do now. Just plain SpaghettiOs.
Nick still loves it. He loves eating beefaroni.
He does
I
not
really
touch
liked
the
the
shit.
ones when I was a kid when they had the Ninja Turtles cans.
Me too.
Yeah, that was.
But those, I don't know if those were Chef Boyardee. That was a different company, I think, that made those.
That was probably
I think so.
Boyardee.
I think it was it maybe. It depended maybe on the region, I suppose, but maybe.
Well, we're not far from each other regionally. Like we could practically touch each other.
Let's find out.
Didn't you move to Madison, Wisconsin?
I'm 2 hours from Madison. I could get there in 2 hours.
Oh no, it was Chef Boyardee. Because they had versus Shredder in the can.
I knew that's what you guys like to eat.
You're correct.
I'll go to Tom's house, have a night on the town, get some Chef Boyardee.
Here's the OG.
Then bring you to a hotel, and then had some pizza pie.
You guys ever watch those videos where these guys will open like these 30, 40, 50, 60-year-old cans of shit?
For no apparent reason, I watched it.
No, me too. That's gotta be a man thing, because 6 is probably like, that's disgusting.
There's ones that he's like, this is a can of food from World War II, and like I'll watch it.
Oddly enough, I have 3 cans of peaches that have been in my fridge for like 7 years.
I've seen at least 4 videos of guys that's found like bottles of Crystal Pepsi on eBay and will drink that shit. Like, this is vintage Crystal Pepsi.
Cereal guys are a whole different level, right?
Oh yeah.
Because cereal won't last. Yeah.
No, cereal won't last. But what's funny is that my girlfriend keeps seeing them, and she's never questioned why I have them in there, and never looked to see if there's an expiry date or anything.
Yeah.
I remember seeing a video on a guy who had the cans of Chef Boyardee based on Spider-Man, the animated series. And man, when he opened that can, it looked like the cryptic death. I'm like, man, if the Kung Flu had a personality and a face, that's what it looked like.
And to think, when that was fresh, people would put that in their bodies.
I know, right? My favorite ones are like the canned, like, hamburgers, like where it's a full fucking on hamburger that's in a can, or like a full chicken or something like that. They're so nasty when they come out. Like, yeah. Anyway, and now that we've probably disgusted 6 to all hell,
it's more like a bird. Think about it when you put chicken in a can.
I stopped listening when Price went down the road of where Chef Boyardee came from.
Oh yeah.
But you know, those videos where I've seen videos where they actually eat whatever's in the can from like World War II.
Me too. That's what I was talking about. Yeah,
they actually eat it. But even no matter how old it is, they'll eat it.
Well, some of the spam just doesn't spoil.
Ugh.
I know, it's frightening.
No, man.
How can you tell the difference?
Just like the McDonald's fries from.
If it's canned good and kept in a decent environment, it pretty much is good for a long time.
I don't know. I would never eat that from a can, no matter what. Even if it's like a YouTube video that gets like, 1 million views, I'm still not going to eat that thing from the can from World War II.
I'm just saying, I know what to look for if the world goes to hell anyway. Survivalist instinct. But anyhow, let's get into the sad news of the day, because we lost a legend. Somebody
we've lost people.
We've lost a lot of people, but this one was a shocker. And not so much in that, you know, I mean, he's old. Mr. Hackman was 95 when he passed. For those who haven't heard, yes, we lost Gene Hackman. But the news just keeps getting weirder and weirder and weirder.
Mhm.
So at first it came out that there was no foul play suspected, and that's all they said. And then considering both him and his wife, who is actually like what, 30 years his junior,
60
something like that.
64.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's about late 60s.
She was
Yeah, so we're
64.
Yeah, so we're almost exactly 30 years younger than him. Was also found dead at the same time. So a lot of people were speculating that it probably was carbon monoxide poison if there was no foul play involved. But then the fire department came out and said, no, there was no gas leak found or any reason to believe that was the case. But now they are saying that it is suspicious. It's like, so we've been getting some strange reports coming out of it. I did listen to a 911 call from somebody who worked on the grounds who actually found the bodies. We don't know exactly how long they had been there. We're getting kind of scattered report, but the best we've been able to put together is that Gene was found in the entryway of his home, basically passed out on the floor. His glasses were off of his body, so they figure they fell off when he fell. We don't have any idea what caused his death yet. And his wife was found in the bathroom on the floor, with pills scattered around her and a heater near her, and her body was actually mummified and bloated. And nobody had seen the couple for at least 2 weeks. Now we're not saying that they've been dead for 2 weeks, but that's just that's all the information we have right now. Now they had 3 dogs, 2 of them were found alive and 1 was not, because 1 was penned up in a closet, I guess. So this is a very strange circumstance. I hate to speculate too much, but we have very little to go on, and it's just, I'm just curious what you guys think about all this. Six, let's start with you. I mean, this is just a very odd situation.
It is odd. It's weird, and I have no idea how they determined whether carbon monoxide wasn't involved, that there was no gas leak. And as far as the fact that they were saying that the wife's body parts, like her hands and her feet, were mummified, and that was when I started thinking, well, she had the space heater in there, and basically your body dries out. And so was the space heater on? I have no idea.
Yeah,
maybe
none of the reports specify. Yeah.
And maybe there's a fail safe on there that it, turns off automatically, because I figure, well, maybe she was about to get in the shower and she likes to have a cozy bathroom when she takes a shower. I don't know. I'm speculating on that. But I don't understand, like the pills that were scattered. The pills that were supposedly scattered on the counter. So did she drop some on the floor? Did one of the 2 dogs that lived or is still alive, are they doing any kind of blood work on them? Are they doing a necropsy on the dog that was found in a crate in the closet? She might have just penned that dog up just for, training purposes or something like that. But I don't. There's so many things that I don't.
Strange things, yeah.
That I don't understand. And like you said, we're not going to find out for weeks. The toxicology report and all that, and carbon monoxide. If they had both been dead for a day or 2, they're not gonna find any trace of carbon monoxide, because the half-life on that is like
hours.
Yeah. So,
but they will find that out probably in the autopsy, I'd imagine.
Nope.
I don't think they're going to find, if it was carbon monoxide, they're not going to find it.
Well, they'll find traces in their lungs and suffocation if it is. Yeah, sure.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
I think it'll be.
Well, they wouldn't be able to determine it would be carbon monoxide. They could only say that a third-party element caused the suffocation.
Since they didn't find any
carbon
leaks,
dioxide doesn't stay in the body long, even after death.
Yeah.
I can only share the working theory that I've heard, and I don't know if it's a theory that's true or not, but this is what I know. This is like a source, trust me, bro. But I'm saying, like, what I understand is he died first, Gene Hackman. Then she came in. she saw that, and apparently, even though there was a 30-year difference, they were like soulmates and things like that. And then she went to take pills so she could possibly join him on his journey. And then for some reason, she didn't think about the dogs, and one of them was in a kennel, so he died. Now, if that is true, if that version is true for some reason, I'm very upset. Not that it matters, but I'm very upset that she didn't leave food and water for the dogs.
But also if we're looking at it from like a perspective of a possible, like a detective, I'm not trying to pretend I am one, but just saying like, okay, the fact that the dog was in a pen almost makes you wonder, did she really commit suicide? Right. So this is why I don't want to speculate too much. Because
this is also, if we were doing like one of those Datelines or even like a Sherlock Holmes or one of those like NCI, whatever you want, this is totally a strange situation where it could be that somebody that was familiar with this couple for whatever reason preferred that if he's not around, that she wouldn't be around either, if you know what I mean.
No, I know exactly what happened. The dog did it.
Well, I mean, I hate to
the
say
one in the kennel. He locked himself in a kennel. After
Yeah, no, he's like they stopped giving him his favorite milk bone, so he's like, to hell with you, and I don't want to live anymore, and that's it.
Or it's the one that was out roaming free in the house. That's the one that did. No, I don't want to even joke.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, okay. Well, let's.
But like, yeah,
innocent until proven guilty, Tom.
No, I know. But like, the sad part is that's just everything has like an odd element to it, and my understanding from the 911 call that I heard, because the 911 call came from a worker, so there's clearly people who have access to their property.
Well, there's 2 maintenance workers who showed up.
Right.
They didn't go inside, but they said that the door was open.
No, I thought the one that I heard from the 911 call, it sounded like he saw both the bodies.
Well, it was
called 911.
Okay, I thought
Let me
that
see
they
if I can
could
find
see Gene through the window.
Maybe. Let me get the 911 call again up here. It's been a couple hours since I
Can we listen to it?
Yeah, let me see if I can find it here. TMZ released it. So I'm kind of touchy with them. So,
I mean, I kept waiting to hear. I mean, when you think about like actors passing away and everything, certain names come to my mind. Like who do I know is still alive but has to be ancient? And Gene Hackman was always one of those names that I thought I'm just waiting for the day when we find out that he passed away.
And that's kind of
not
the way,
like this, not like this, but yeah.
Before you came in, that's kind of what I was saying. Is like it's not so much a surprise because we knew he was getting old. It's one of those that,
He became physically unrecognizable in his old age, too.
Yeah, the circumstances surrounding it now are just strange. Well, he's 95 years old. I mean,
hello, my name is the caretaker for Santa Fe Summit. I'm here about past 10,000 waves. I think we just found one deceased person inside a house. What's the address here? There's no address. I'm going to wait for you at the gate. I'm going to wait for you to please send somebody really quick.
Okay, what's going to be the address?
It's going to be down at the gatehouse. I'll meet you over there. I'll meet them over there. I'm the caretaker for the subdivision. I'm going to bring them up here.
Okay, give me 1 second. Let me speak with the paramedic.
Okay, so he said he's the caretaker of the subdivision. So you might be right, Six.
Well, but he said there's 2 people, and if she was found in the bathroom, nobody's going to set up their bathroom so you can see it through a window.
Right, and he's not sure. I think what because that's what struck me as odd, because it sounded like he saw her and he was pretty sure she was dead, but he wasn't sure about Gene. That's what it sounds like to me, but we'll keep listening here.
Thank you.
1 second.
Damn.
Are you with
he's
the
saying like,
patient
damn, what could it be? I think is what he said there. So, and he sounds like he's crying a little bit.
Yeah, I'm over at their property. There's no address here. So I have to meet the ambulance or the police, whoever, down at the gatehouse. I'll bring them up here.
Okay. How old is the patient?
I have no idea.
You don't know? Okay, that's fine.
And I don't know if somebody wants to grab pictures of his house. It's like a big compound almost. It's kind of
what was he
impressive.
in New Mexico or?
Yeah, and it's surrounded. It's like it's actually a really palatial looking place. If somebody wants to grab a picture of it while we're listening to the
Tom, check the private chat.
Is the patient a male or a female?
A female and a male, probably. I don't know, sir. Just send somebody up here real quick.
Okay. Are they awake?
I have no idea.
Are they breathing?
I have no idea. I'm not inside the house. It's closed. It's locked. I can't go in. But I.
Okay, so you were right then, Six. So whatever you read that's what it was saying. So they can't actually get in. So he must have seen somehow through the window, both of them there, because it did say the bathroom was right off the entryway.
Maybe one
So
of the bodies is very visible, very big, large windows. Because I've seen houses like that.
That's what I was thinking.
Open glass windows.
Yeah.
And the way they described where he was compared to her, they weren't too far away, even though they were in different rooms. Like it said, the bathroom was right near the entry. So if he was right in the entryway, then that's probably where, yeah. So, all right, keep going here.
I see them. She's laying down on a floor from the window.
Do they appear to be awake or alert?
No. It's not.
Okay. Are they moving at all?
No, dude, they're not moving. Just send somebody out here really quick.
Okay, my units are underway, okay?
I'm sorry?
My units are underway right now. And
Okay, I'll meet them down at the gatehouse because they might not have the code.
But that is strange, though. If she was in the bathroom and the door was open, the door had to probably be open for him to see her.
Yeah.
So then why would she be that much more decomposed than he was then?
I don't just because of the space heater. That was my thinking.
That close to her would make a difference.
Yeah.
you don't have like the actual address of the house of where this person lives?
I have no idea. There's no address. There's a reason why for that.
That's pretty much it. They just talk about how the address is, and then that's it. So yeah, pretty fucked up. Anyway, let's keep going. Mike, what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, as interesting as it is to speculate about the conditions of his passing and what happened, I rather put my time and attention towards celebrating the greatness of his career.
I agree, and we're gonna hear in the next part here.
I mean, this is all I've been tied up all day. This is all news to me, so I don't know. I really am uncomfortable talking about the details related to how this happened or when this happened. I just want to say that he was one of my favorite actors, and although he was a great Lex Luthor, I think my favorite role was when he was in that pistol shooting movie with Sharon Stone.
Oh, Quick and the Dead.
Quick and the Dead was really good.
Unforgiven is really
good. Little Bill.
Good.
I just thought, look,
Little
was
Bill,
it the greatest movie ever? No, but I thought his character, his acting into that character was just next level.
And if for those who aren't looking, we got a picture of the house up here on the screen now. But yeah, so let's move past this part of it because you're right. Let's keep going here real quick. Nick, do you want to say anything more about this part here before we move on?
I'm gonna withhold judgment until more hopeful facts come out. This is just way too strange for me to really think about. I don't want to react to this right now.
Right. Price, anything you want to say?
Me?
No, I think you and Script got pretty much to say something. Scribe, I don't know if you've got a chance to really speak. I just want to make sure everybody got a chance to
whatever the circumstances are, I just hope that it wasn't something that someone else did. If it's just one grand accident or just I'd rather be more sort of like an internal tragedy than somebody did something to them. But I mean, there's no sort of upside to that, so to speak, except that it's kept in-house and nothing violent happened to them. But other than that, I got nothing else to say about it.
Price, Script, anybody? No? Okay.
I just feel sorry for Gene Hackman and his family, and it's a tragic way to go. It's a tragic way to be discovered. I hope we get. I hope his family gets all the information they need to move off and get the closure. Because it's been a rough week, man, for celebrities.
It has indeed.
The thing that's really frustrating here is that as much as he's a great actor, and of course it's sad that he passed away, he was 95. So if they would have just said, hey, he passed away peacefully in his sleep, everyone would have been like, okay, well, he's a legendary actor. We all would have reminisced on, how great he was. And that would be a fitting tribute. Instead, it's like some weird Dateline crime scene.
TMZ crap,
Yeah, it's just very odd. And it really attaches a strange, bizarre thing to his death.
It does. And this is kind of what we were talking about before the show. And in a small way, it was like how really kind of sucks that this is overshadowing now. What we would normally have is, you know, kind of a celebratory time for Gene's career. So let's get into that part because, I mean, he is one of the greatest actors of his generation. I don't think anybody would argue that. I mean, he's been in so many films. He didn't even have, what, like a 30-some year career before he retired? Because he started, what?
He went like 40
70s?
years, early 60s, and then he went to the early 2000s.
Was he in the early 60s?
Yeah, early 60s.
I was gonna say, I know one of his first big movies was like Bonnie and Clyde.
Well, yeah, it could be his first big movie. As far as where he was like first movie, I think early 60s. I'm pretty sure it was like 62 or 61 was his first movie that he was in. That he was credited for, of course.
Right.
Then
But,
2003 or 4 was the last year he was in something.
Yeah, he did. Welcome to Mooseport was his last movie with Ray Romano, which was meh.
Anything with Ray Romano is meh.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything with him is agreed.
But no, I mean, he had been in such great films. Obviously, The French Connection comes to mind. Superman, duh.
Oh, well, yeah.
Which we
Enemy
talk
of
about all the
State.
time. I mean, Enemy of the State's a great one.
Conversation.
Red October. What's the other one?
The Poseidon Adventure. He was in
Red-
Poseidon.
Red-
No, the
Red-
other one.
Crimson Tide.
Crimson Tide.
Crimson
thank
Tide.
you.
Oh,
Yeah.
masterpiece.
That's what I was trying to think. I always get those two names.
Yeah.
He did a
Un- un-
cameo in Young Frankenstein that he absolutely loved, and everybody was laughing. with
Wait,
him.
I was gonna make espresso.
Oh, man. So many.
Is the
good
blind
movies.
man? He's great in that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He was in Unforgiven. I remember now.
Unforgiven. He's Little Bill. That's probably one of the most complicated bad guys in a movie ever. Because like he's a very likable guy. In most respects, he's technically right, but he gets his in the end because of what he did to Morgan Freeman's character, basically. Yeah.
The great thing about Unforgiven is that, save for maybe Morgan Freeman's character, there are no heroes in that movie.
No.
The prostitute lady who got cut up and Morgan Freeman's character are probably the most innocent characters in the entire deal. Maybe the what's his name, the kid, the cult kid, or what they all.
For the most part, though, Little Bill is doing his job for the most part.
No, Little Bill is a perfect villain because he's not a bad guy. He's there to keep the town safe and everything. He's just a bit of a dictator. Outside of that, he's building his own house. He's got stories. Next to English Bob, he's got more honor, technically, sort of. All the characters in the Duck of Death. All the characters in there are written so well because they're not just two-dimensional. They've got their good, they got their bad, and they just happen to have these circumstances bring them together. And so there's a protagonist and there's an antagonist. Outside of that, the morality and ethicality of each one varies on the scene.
Yeah. And I mean, I got a handful of them I haven't even got a chance to watch yet of his, like The Package and
Narrow Margin.
Yep, that's another one I got.
Narrow Margin, The Conversation. Conversation's
another one I just got not that long ago in 4K. So yeah, I mean, Gene is just one of those guys that.
What was that one he did with? It was David Mamet. I think it was like called Crook or Robber or something like that. He was in a caper movie with like Danny DeVito, and what was that called? I'm suddenly forgetting what it was. It was one of those really wordy David Mamet type deals. I'll have to look that up.
Oof, it's not ringing a bell.
Yeah, me either. I'm like trying to think. I'm like, I mean, that's the thing. Gene's been in so.
And Get Shorty. How could I forget Get Shorty?
Well, yeah, of course. His later films, Royal Tenenbaums, Get Shorty. I mean, Runaway Jury wasn't bad.
Heist. Yeah. That's what it was. Heist.
Right.
Gene
actually,
Hackman.
I think I've seen that one actually.
Yeah, no, Delroy Lind. I mean, you got half the cast from Get Shorty in it, and it's
The Replacements was one of his last ones. I remember being really.
That was a
good.
phenomenal movie.
Yeah, Heartbreakers was decent. He was in The Mexican.
What?
The Royal
Tenenbaums
was brilliant.
You've never seen The Mexican?
No, I mean, when you are Mexican, you see a Mexican
should.
every day.
It's about Brad Pitt and a gun.
What?
Yeah,
it's got
actually
James
not that bad of a
Gandolfini in it.
film. I haven't seen that in years. I used to have it on DVD. I don't know if
How
still
did I
do or
not see a movie called The Mexican?
Yeah. And then he played the president in Absolute Power. Actually, I just watched that like a week ago or 2 weeks ago. And The Chamber was another one I just watched not too long ago. But yeah, I mean, just so many great films he was in. He's also in Wyatt Earp, Firm. Oh yeah, I watched The Firm earlier this year too. I remember sending that one to Mikey.
Yeah, The Firm was good.
Yeah, Mike. What was your first one, Tom? What was your first? Do you remember?
Superman.
Yeah,
Superman. He was Lex Luthor to me until all of a sudden, like my dad had. I mean, he was probably one of the earlier actors, and that's why he probably means a lot to me in that sense because my dad loved him as an actor, and being that Superman was one of those first things in my life that I remember seeing. Because like to me, like I'm sure I told you guys this until I kind of figured out in my head when I was about 4 or 5 what movies really were. Superman was real to me, right? Like,
nice.
I mean, Christopher Reeve, I don't know who that was. It was Superman. And then finally, when I started to understand that, well, then I'm like, well, who's that? And then, well, that's Christopher Reeve. My dad, oh, that's Gene Hackman. Because we seen him in some other movie, and I don't remember what it was. And I'm like, that's Lex Luthor. And he's like, well, his real name's Gene Hackman. You know, so like, yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah, I was like, huh? Who? What? No Way Out was another one I just saw of his not too long ago, too.
Oh, that was a good one, too.
And my dad was probably watching Hoosiers or something like that at that time. And I'm like, what is Lex Luthor doing in this movie about basketball or something? Like, yeah. It's like, is this before or after he tried taking over the world? What about you guys?
Funny, Tom.
Yeah. Well, that's really my little mind probably thought at that point.
Right.
There's a fan theory that the character he plays in Enemy of the State is the same character he played in The Conversation because they have such similar roles.
I like that.
Yeah, back to back now.
Yeah, I mean it's a nice little head. It reminds me a lot of the headcanon of James Bond being in The Rock kind of thing. It's just like you take that same character.
That almost pretty much works.
Yeah, there's a couple of videos out there that make the timeline work for that, but. Yeah, no,
it doesn't as if you'd have to say that 007 isn't and James Bond isn't the real person. It's just a moniker passed down.
But no, Gene Hackman, he could just fulfill whatever the role was, and there was just such grounded gravitas to anything he did. Like between the character he played in Mississippi Burning versus sub captain in Crimson Tide to Little Bill,
you always say he was the best character actor of all time, because I would never say he was like an A-list movie star.
It's hard to say.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's hard to say he was a leading man, even in movies where he was like the lead actor. It always felt like because he always felt like such a part of the world rather than
even have that many where he's the lead actor. That's my point, right? Like,
yeah, he's kind of the
French Connection. Yeah,
yeah. Even when he plays the heavy, that's what he is.
Right. Yeah, but he always, I guess the only way I can describe it is even when he was the leading man, he felt like he was part of the background because he just felt so naturally in every role that he played.
Maybe I would word it differently. He was such a good character actor that you could even let him just lead the movie if necessary.
Well, look at a movie like Hoosiers, where the movie isn't so much about him as being Gene Hackman in the movie. It's about the story, right? Like, that's what I'm getting at. Like, he was just probably, I would say, probably one of the most successful character actors of all time in that respect.
Oh yeah, that was my second movie with him was Hoosiers. I remember.
Well, I think everybody probably saw that in school in our age group. Yeah,
he was Lex Luthor and the basketball coach.
Any movie that he was in, like I don't think I've ever seen a movie that he was in that I felt like he phoned in his performance.
Oh,
you may even like the movie or not like the movie. I don't think that anybody would ever say that he didn't give a good performance in anything he was in. And there were many movies that if he was in, they were better because he was in them.
Like Superman 4, The Quest for Peace.
Exactly.
Yay.
He is the best part of that movie.
It is, yeah.
It's true. It's
and
true,
his voiceover for Solar Man or whatever.
Bring me Superman.
Nuclear Man.
Yep.
I mean, he did his best with that one. That one was a tough one, but he did his best with it. But I think that so many movies that he's in, it adds like legitimacy. Like, I don't know, Enemy of the State. You have Will Smith running around. Yeah, he's a good actor, Will Smith. But the second you like Gene Hackman is in the picture, suddenly like you're believing all that stuff that's happening. It's like it just adds this kind of credibility to whatever story you have there. The second he's there, he brings that gravitas that just makes the
You ever been to
movie
Poughkeepsie?
all the more believable.
Yeah, and the sincerity, like like you say, you believed what he said because it just came off so naturally and organically that even if he was surrounded by a movie that just was absolutely bonkers, there was something about him being able to maintain a grounded sort of presence with everything. Yeah,
I agree. There was something. See, some actors they bring this kind of over the top style, or they feel a little bit acting and things like that. With him, it was just so natural. He's just there. That's what makes it so believable and grounded.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he's done everything from drama to action to comedy with like Loose Cannons and his cameo in Young Frankenstein, for instance. I mean, he could handle it all. It's just really sad that we lost him like this. But no, hopefully we can celebrate his career, and he had a great one. He knew when to quit. Unlike some people.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, like, I think he hit that moment and he's probably going, well, at least it wasn't the one that Sean did. Jesus. Like
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah. Because that made Sean Connery go, fuck this, I'm leaving.
I mean, I just saw a Clint Eastwood movie just recently. Which one was it? That last one? Fuck.
It's hard to say which one it was. He's in a lot.
Gran Torino?
No, that was years ago. I'm talking about the one
with him, those two in it together.
Was it the one where he was the mule? The mule? Was it the mule one?
No, after this. No. This just came out.
He's not in that one.
Hold on. Why am I? All right, keep talking. I'll find it. Hold on.
Are you talking about a movie he was with Gene Hackman in, or a new one?
No, he directed it.
Okay.
Oh, you're talking about Juror Number 2.
Yes.
Number 2.
Oh,
that's what I just saw. Fucking love that movie.
Oh, okay.
Well,
yeah, Clint. I keep expecting like Gene Hackman is. I keep expecting not looking forward to it, but just the day when it finally comes and Clint Eastwood passes away.
I thought also he was pretty good in the Chicken movie.
Yeah, the Cry Macho wasn't that bad.
Yeah,
you know what's funny is thinking about Juror Number 2. Like if he'd have made Juror Number 2 20 years ago, Gene Hackman probably would have played the J.K. Simmons role.
Yeah,
probably my guess. Because him and Gene worked together a few times. Yeah, so. Yeah, that's just too bad. God, I'm just looking through his list here. It's like, God, I just got a couple of these movies from Kino.
Over 100, right?
Oh God, yeah, he's been in tons.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just got Bat 21 not too long ago in Kino sale. I mean, I just watched the French Connection 1 and 2 not long ago.
Nice.
I think I got Mississippi Burning. I'm pretty sure I do.
A lot of movies.
I've never seen number 2.
Shows.
Wonder if I got Class Action.
Is French Connection 2 good? I feel like I've never seen that.
It's all right. It's it's missing.
It's an unnecessary sequel. Let's put it that way.
Kind of, yeah. It has some interesting elements to it, but it really misses Roy Scheider, and it drags off from the end of the first film. It's like he goes over to, what was it, France, or where was it?
Mm-hmm.
Amsterdam or something like that. Either France or Amsterdam. I can't remember which, but like, yeah. So like he's chasing him down internationally, and it's complete bullshit. Like the first movie is loosely based on reality. The second movie is complete bullshit.
Right.
Yeah. But anyhow, that being said, anything more you guys have to say about Gene 6? You haven't said much about Gene. You like any of his movies specifically, or any memories?
I saw The Firm multiple times in the theater, and I remember being absolutely horrified that he had an affair with that woman, with Tom Cruise's wife, or that he was planning. I remember thinking, that's so disgusting. What is wrong with him? Not Gene, of course, but the character. But I remember being horrified at adultery is disgusting, but that's the standout moment. Yeah. But The Firm is one of probably my number in top 3 of Gene Hackman movies.
At the end, The Firm, he ends up not alive in that movie, right? There's something that he...
He dies in a lot of the movies he's in, actually.
But what's the thing? He's trying to sleep with Tom Cruise's wife.
That's one of his things he's trying to do.
Triple Horn in that movie in The Firm.
Yeah.
And then at the end, though, she doesn't sleep with him, I think.
No, she doesn't. She gives him sleeping. Well, I don't want to spoil. If you haven't seen the movie by now, she puts something in his drink. I think knocks him out.
She Cosby's him.
Yeah, Cosby. But then I think doesn't he end up like dead?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he die from the Cosby or does he die from? I have to revisit.
No, she didn't kill him.
No, doesn't he do himself?
No.
I'm trying to remember now. If I'm mixing
spoiler
alert.
alert.
The other one. It's been. I watched so many of these movies now recently in the last few months. I'm probably mixing a few of them up.
I feel like that's a movie. I saw it a number of times back in the day. I used to have it like on a video cassette, but I haven't revisited it in a while. Maybe I should check it out. I remember that Jean Triplehorn or whatever her name was looked pretty good during that time.
She was in Basic Instinct and Waterworld.
Yeah.
I said I thought, the character that he played in Quick and the Dead, it feels like that's what Little Bill would have turned into if he had won. like it's an alternate universe where Little Bill won against William Money, and that's what the town turned into, and he turned into.
Oh no, the Firm kills him. That's right. Dark King says, Tom, please put together a compilation of Gene Hackman's death scenes over the course of his amazing career. Let him go the way he lived on screen. Yeah, I see the sentiment you're putting together here. And he did. Like I said, I know he died in a lot of the films he's in. So I'm sure that would be a long video, or however you want to put it. SFX F314 Sabretooth Raptor says, Rip Gene Hackman, legendary actor, best Lex Luthor of all time. No actor like him will be seen again. It's so sad. Feels like Robin Williams said. Yeah. Action Com says Lex Luthor was genius choice because it introduced Gene to a new generation who would grow up with him. And boy, I never forgot after Superman. Damn right. Lost for Words is not lost for words. He sends in £5 and says, Rip Gene Hackman, an immensely talented actor who never gave a bad performance, portraying heroes and villains alike with brilliance. A true movie star, indeed. Deeple 101 says with 2, ahoy chat and panel, Rip Gene, gotta watch a movie. Yeah, well, we gave you a few options to look for. Daryl Brewer gifted 10 memberships. Wow. And Mark's been here for 47 months and says, happy birthday, Mike.
Thank you very much. That's very sweet of you. Thank you.
And Yellow Flash says, he was the greatest criminal mind of our time. He brought you Superman. Set your insides right. He just wanted Australia. Anyway, Mark Daly says, our daily says with 10, Rip Gene Hackman, pour one out for Popeye Doyle, Lex Luthor, and dozens of other great characters too numerous to mention. Dozens of great roles, yet still one of a kind, indeed. And how you doing? Jason Webster then says, Rip Gene Hackman, whether a film was great, fine, or mediocre, he always got a command performance, indeed. The American film industry has lost a legend in Titan. Yeah, they did indeed. And then we also got a few more here. We got D007. I think it's D007H. Heist 2001 is a great movie, great quotes. Yeah.
I mean, it's Mammoth. So Mammoth's, there's always some good dialogue in there.
Yep.
Yeah. And then Jason Webster says, Gene Hackman truly deserved every acting award he received over his career. Did he ever get an Oscar? I think he got nominated.
So.
He got 2 of them?
Yeah.
I remember one thing about Heist, one of my favorite bits, and I am paraphrasing, I'm probably not doing it correctly, is that Gene Hackman's sitting there and he's like some master criminal or whatever, and somebody's asking him about some job he pulled. And he said, I can't understand how you're able to do that. How'd you do that job? And Gene Hackman says, well, here's the trick. I imagine a man smarter than myself, and I ask, what would he do? It's just such a great line.
Action Com sends in 5 and says, you got to admit, for a legendary performer to leave a mystery as he shuffles off this mortal coil is more interesting than died surrounded with family. Well, yeah, but at that age and considering you would
at 95, this was the classic case of just died surrounded by family.
Yeah, newsflash, when they say died surrounded by family, a lot of times that's just not, family wasn't there. Family didn't want to come to see him. That's just bullshit.
Yeah, or
That's
it's
a sad
code that the
reality.
family executed him.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, surrounded by family and a firing squad.
Yeah.
They just wanted to hurry up and get to the reading of the will. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jason Webster sends in 10 Australia and says Gene Hackman appeared in some great films: French Connection, The Conversation, Superman, Hoosiers, Mississippi Burning, Unforgiven, and The Firm. Geez, these are just a handful of his huge body of work. Check it out as much as you can. Yeah. So with that, let's get into another bit of news that isn't so depressing or sad. Well, maybe not. Maybe I
Uh-oh.
I might have got ahead to myself here, because we're going to lead into this. This is the next bit. I don't know if anything's going to get better here.
Oh, geez.
To be honest with you. So we got Shrek 5 announcement with a new design, which people are pointing out looks shitty. And we got a new voice actor added to the group as one of Shrek's daughters.
Hey, Magic Mirror, who's the fairest of them all? Why, Shrek, of course.
Ew, Dad.
Ooh, Mama light. Who's making this stuff?
Not me.
Whoa! Shrek 5, starring Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, Cameron Diaz, and Zendaya?
Oh, no!
Only in theaters. Christmas 2026.
You know, the only thing missing from this is
Zendaya?
Pedro Pascal.
I was gonna say she is the Pedro Pass hole of this movie. Like, they just can't help themselves that they gotta have these people, either Pedro or Zendaya, in these movies, and they're just not becoming ever. It'd be one thing if they were like exceptionally great, but even them at their best is not exceptionally great or even exceptional, period. So this makes no sense why these two keep getting the amount of roles that they get.
Well, even the announcer had to say her name with a question mark at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't notice that announcer was Eddie Murphy?
No.
That sounded way too much of a masculine voice for Eddie.
It was Eddie Murphy doing an announcer voice. Listen again. Trust me, I know Eddie's voice.
Okay.
Eddie Murphy, Cameron Diaz, and Zendaya? Oh, damn. Only in theaters. Christmas 2026.
No, I guess I can hear it. But is that how you pronounce
It's
it?
not him. It's somebody who sounds a lot like
I always thought it was Zendaya. Is it Zendaya? I always thought it was Zendaya.
Yeah, it's
No, I always said Zendaya.
Okay.
It's okay. Nobody cares. Even if you said Zendaya, that's fine. But I think for a while
And didn't
I've known
Shrek have like 3 kids?
Yeah, he should have had more kids. I don't know why
Yeah.
they're just showing this one. I loved
Maybe
how
he
the
died.
announcer's like Zendaya. Like even the announcer knows that they shove her in every movie, and it's annoying.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that's not Eddie. It sounded like Eddie to me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe not.
Did not sound like Eddie doing his white voice.
It's Charlie Murphy.
It doesn't.
You might
he's
be
like,
right.
Well,
Oh, well. It doesn't sound like anybody's that excited about that.
I'm not going to
Zendaya
fall
really
for
turned
no
people
banana
off.
in the tailpipe.
Yeah. Speaking of other trailers, we got to look at a bigger look at Minecraft.
Oh, jeez.
Don't worry! I'm gonna cushion our fall with this water bucket! Release!
In the overworld.
Whoa.
Okay, so why does everybody else look like the video game but not Jack Black?
Anything you can dream about, you can create.
So they built all this?
Yeah, most of it.
Hold up.
That thing doesn't understand a word you're saying.
We're talking.
Who is this for?
I don't know. I asked my kid about it.
Like real kids, not adult kids.
Yeah, I was going to say no. Yeah, because he doesn't give a shit. And he was around when this stuff was huge. And he just said it's stupid, basically, in so many words.
Feels like the Angry Birds movie or the Emoji movie or something. It's like just this was a. It might have made some money like when those things were fresh.
It's 10 years too late, at least. Yeah.
At least, yeah.
Life here was perfect. Until one day, Flint and Steel, we came across the Nether. A place with no joy or creativity at all. You, what do you make?
Oh, like Hollywood?
Oh, If they get their way, this beautiful world and everything in it will wither and die.
So it's the Lego movie.
No, the Lego movie was basically gluing things together so that everything stays the same.
Yeah.
What you want is
So you don't get any creativity. That was my point.
No, what you want is the never-ending story where like the nothing is coming and it actually is scary instead of just being a cartoon. But whatever.
It means goodbye, brother.
No, it doesn't.
Don't look at her. It does.
If we want to save this world, creativity is key to survival. Now what? Elytra wingsuits.
Bye-bye. Those things work, right?
Absolutely.
I got something for you.
Pretty sure that's Jack Black singing whatever the hell this song is, too.
I love Blue House. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
This place makes no sense.
This movie makes no sense.
Let's do this.
I'm off today. I quit.
They want me to fight the chicken?
It's like, how gay can they
Chicken
make him
jockey.
look?
Oh no, not again. Oh my god. Oh my god. Are you all right?
Jennifer Coolidge.
Your head is huge.
That's what she said.
Okay.
Lord help me.
I could
Never
barely
make me
make it through that trailer. I mean, that
Yeah,
was,
never make me watch that again. That was just-
that was like not forget
Six
about the
sent it
movie.
to me.
What
Oh,
was-
6 is
Don't
fault.
blame
Right.
me. I didn't
Six
send
is
it to
fault.
you so we could
Six,
talk.
how
Totally
dare
threw
you.
under the bus. I
Why
That
did
was
you
the
do
first
this?
time I saw that trailer. I didn't even watch it, even though I sent it to him. I
Totally
didn't know
threw
it
you
was
under the bus
possible
on
to care
purpose.
less about Minecraft than I did this morning,
Yeah.
but here we are.
Looks like a Netflix production.
I don't get it. I really don't.
Well, I mean, a lot of
What's-
movies these days are designed to be watched on your phone now. So
Yeah, it's true.
What's
Oh, can I bring up a topic of another? I think will probably be another big disappointment of a franchise.
if it's not what I've already got up here? Sure.
Yeah, there. I just shared something with you. I did that yesterday after I saw the poster.
Oh, okay. Fuck Cannon. Exactly. Did you see what my fucking? Yeah, you must say. Did you see mine was like? Because somebody
does
said,
that
"Oh,
mean?
that poster goes hard." I said, "Yeah, hard against lore." Fuck Canon, because they haven't cared about Canon since like Alien 3.
I know. It's too much to hope for, but whatever. I mean, Alien
What are we looking
Romulus tried to like wrap up all the various different threads and unify all the movies together. And then it's
What
like,
is
oh
that
sure,
W?
aliens come to Earth. Why not?
That's
that's
Watani.
Wayland Yutani. It's the Alien franchise. It's the next Alien movie
It's the company.
or the TV show. Is it the TV show? Maybe it's a series. I
This is a
forget now.
TV show. Yes.
Yeah, okay, it was a series. This is the one where the director said it's about highlighting inequality or something when he was first talking about it.
This is Noah
Before.
Hawley's show. This is from the guy who was going to make the Star Trek movie version.
Yeah, he did.
What, 3?
Yeah, he did. He did the first season or 2, maybe just the first season of Fargo. I mean, so that was pretty good.
no, he knocked it out of the park with Fargo series.
Yeah.
I think season 4 and if there's a season 5 are the only 2 I haven't seen yet.
I think he's only responsible for writing the first season. I think he just produced the other ones. Or am I?
No, he
completely
was
off
the
base?
showrunner for at least the first 3.
Was he? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first season was great. The other subsequent seasons kind of dipped down as time went on, I thought. But
Well, he
I
had
agree with you.
he did because Ted Danson was in season 1 and then he did the
Yeah.
young Ted Danson in season 2, which is not too bad. It had a better
no,
than I
Ted
expected.
Danson was in. I thought Ted Danson was in season 2.
Season 1 was Bob Odenkirk, I think.
No, season 1 was Billy Bob Thornton and Martin Freeman.
Yeah, Martin Freeman.
Wasn't the Sheriff Bob Odenkirk in the first season?
No, that was I forget who the sheriff. The sheriff got killed. Oops, sorry, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
No, the Ted Danson was in season 2, which was a flashback to
Can
things
you tell me
mentioned.
when
Well, there's this massacre
I'm
at Sioux
sure Bob
Falls, which
Odenkirk
was
was
a
in
big part of it.
Fargo. I don't
No, Bob
recall if he
Odenkirk
was. It was in the
in
later
a
seasons.
Fargo. He was in a Fargo because it introduced a new actress who she's the lead on St. Denis Medical. She was one of the sheriffs who was trying to investigate, and Bob Odenkirk kept on telling her not to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was one of the later seasons because the first season was Billy Bob and Martin Freeman, and the guy who played the second season was
Colin Hanks was in one of them too.
Yeah, well, he was in the first season. Billy Bob Thornton. He played the sheriff, the deputy guy. Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, yeah. No, Ted Danson didn't show up until Bokeem Woodbine showed up in one of the flashback seasons.
Right.
I've still not seen this. What does it have to do with the movie?
Yeah, but I want to push back here. I actually am right. He was in season 1 of Fargo, Bob Odenkirk.
So he must have been the guy that replaced the chief that was killed.
Maybe. But all I know is
okay.
Bob Odenkirk was in season 1 of Fargo, which was arguably also the best one. It had Billy Bob Thornton, it had Bob Odenkirk. Everything about that season worked, that first one. The second one was pretty good. The third one was already starting to be like all right. Then there was one with like Chris Rock that I think completely wasn't very good. There was one with Ewan McGregor, which was barely, like, I watched it, but I was already growing tired of it. And
the Ewan McGregor season was okay.
Okay, yeah. Then I think the Chris Rock season,
yeah.
they really lost me with the Chris Rock one, and then after that, somebody said that they made another one. It was good, but I think I never went back to watch it.
Yeah, the what's his name? Don Draper was in the season after that, I think. There's abouts. But yeah, no, the first season was good. It was basically a companion piece to the film without, like, you didn't need to see the film to watch season 1 of Fargo, but it was existing sort of concurrent, well, not concurrently, but sort of as a quasi sequel to the movie. And then
actually, it was just there's a subplot that kind of just wrapped up what happened to the money, and that was it.
Yes,
and then they just had another story that ran parallel to it.
Right. Yeah, I think that was the only real direct connective tissue to it, aside from some thematic stuff. And then everything else, every season thereafter, is kind of try to create this shared universe time jump of connected lives and family members and last names and things. And yeah. So anyway, but yeah, no, when he was first talking about this Alien series, he was talking about he's going to showcase the consequences of inequality or something, and I don't know exactly what that's supposed. I'm guessing rich versus poor, maybe class more than anything else, but I don't know.
I'm still wondering why there are aliens on Earth.
Well, because that was set up with the Alien Resurrection, the Joss Whedon thing from the very end.
Stupid.
Yeah, it was.
It's kind of like once you have aliens end up on Earth, it's kind of like, well, then the movie after that has to be just like practically an apocalyptic, everything's done kind of thing.
Yeah, ActionCom sends in 2 and says, when Clint goes, Hollywood is truly dead. Well, maybe. We still got Jack left and a few others, but yeah, I see what you're saying. Who's on for more bad news?
Me. Oh, sure.
Kathleen Kennedy speaks out
on
her Lucasfilm plans. She is not soon retiring.
Of course not.
So she's.
And I've been trying to say this. I said I'm not gonna count these chickens for they hatch. This is the only person they were quoting was Matt Maloney of Puck, and Disney had not said shit. So she also threatens us with more films that will keep her in the Star Wars orbit for years to come. So what is this all about? Let's see here.
She's basically, hey, remember I said she's like Bob Iger, like she won't actually, she'll talk and hint about, retiring, but then, oh, wait, no, not so fast. Not so fast. And a few days later, boom.
See, I disagree. I read this and I think she's basically confirming.
I was just going to say, is she getting the Amy Pascal deal? Let's find out.
No, she's cloning herself and then transferring her consciousness into a new body. That's what's going to happen.
That wouldn't surprise me either. Exclusive. I thought I'd seen it all in the trade journalism, but like a piranha but the piranha-like frenzy on Kathleen Kennedy and the successor speculation that followed Matt Maloney's Puck report that Disney was putting her out to pasture is a new one on me. Maloney has for years been beating on Kennedy like she owes him money. Oh, okay, so this is clearly coming from somebody from her, Mike Fleming Jr., whoever this is. Somebody in her camp, that's for sure. Maloney has been for years, blah, blah, blah. I recall essentially he did the same thing more than a year ago, and yet here she still is producing the Mandalorian movie and prepping Sean Levy directed Star Wars film, which Ryan Gosling is circling. So he still hasn't signed on yet, as well as numerous other film and streaming projects with A-list participants. Yeah, this is coming straight from Kennedy's camp. Still, the trades followed with gusto, dishing speculative reporting on who might succeed Kennedy. The takeaway was chaos, and that Kennedy was being pushed. The reality is different and far more orderly. According to insiders, Kennedy has been working on a succession plan for a couple of years, eyeing candidates from within in process with Bob Iger and Alan Bergman, who puts someone like Dave Filoni, who knows the universe inside out, in strong position. I admire Baloney's hustle and ability to turn over hard ground, but his penchant for defining industry people like Kennedy in disparaging ways, well, I just don't understand it. Well, have you seen the Star Wars films? Yeah. Anyway, I didn't appreciate it when Deadline founder Nikki Fink did it here, and it feels like the appetite for Schadenfreude. This is like a fucking, I can't even finish this shit.
He's literally licking her asshole.
He is. Like, tell us how it tastes. Like, you can tell us what she had for lunch, can't you?
You want me to read it?
I can't stop laughing. Like, you should.
You know, I will say this, though, before you continue, that there still could be a situation that somebody at Disney from another camp that maybe wanted to expedite this thing did drop some kind of nugget for that baloney guy. And now this is like Kathleen Kennedy herself with her camp just trying to counter that. Just like that other article that said, I'm not 72, I'm 71. That was another thing from her camp. So she's fighting back. It's a war of narratives. It could be that they do want her to leave.
Well, I remember watching your video earlier. Was it yours, Tom? I think where apparently they have the biggest issue with Kathleen Kennedy stepping down is that they don't have a successor. So is it that they wanted to actually let her go, and it's just that they don't have someone to replace her, and they don't want to have it be like a faceless face of the company type of deal? Which to me, I don't see why that's so important. Like they don't need to represent them.
The most I can do is speculate, because the one person I guess who was really up for the job or looked like was going to get the job ended up leaving and went over to what the fuck, where was it now? I don't know, it's in our recent video, or one of our recent videos, I believe, or we talked about it on one of the morning shows now. I can't remember who it was or where they went, but yeah, they were one of the people that was like supposedly first in line. So that just sounds like to me there's some inner turmoil there, and not so much that they can't find somebody, or they just, Kathy is not willing to give up power. Go ahead, Scribe. It sounds like.
Well, I was going to say that I'm reading some of her quotes. It's like, well, I'm not retiring. I'm like, well, so are you going to hand the effective reins over to somebody who's going to act as like chairman of the board of Lucasfilm or something? So you're still there, but you're just not in charge in name. I don't know.
That's what she says. Are you gonna finish reading it, Tom?
Do you want to finish it? I can too. If not,
well, I'd like somebody to finish it so we can get the good parts.
Yes, go ahead.
Schadenfreude is nowhere near as high now, given how this business is still trying to regain footing after the global pandemic, the year-long labor strikes, and most recently the devastating wildfires that ravaged Southern California. Kennedy would seem an unlikely target for ire in good times or bad. 13 years into her run steering Lucasfilm, she has done much with the challenge of trying to broaden George Lucas's Star Wars vision after Disney bought it from him for $4 billion in cash and stock. It's a challenge Amazon will now try with James Bond after purchasing creative control from 007 gatekeepers for $1 billion beyond the $8 billion they paid.
Oh no,
that's a tangent. That's a tangent.
That's
right
a
there.
tangent and a half. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Six.
Kennedy is arguably the most successful female producer executive in Hollywood history.
Arguably, yes, you're right. It's arguable.
Yeah, she has produced over 70 films that have collected 120 Oscar noms and 25 wins. And she herself was awarded the honorary Oscar with the Irving G. Thalberg Memorial Award with 8 other Oscar noms. Blah, blah, blah. Suck, suck, suck. Well, it has always been a challenge to please the Star Wars faithful, and there have been some misfires. The 5 Star Wars films she has produced have grossed nearly $6 billion, with streaming series successes topped by The Mandalorian and Andor. Sorry, Matt. The woman is a first ballot Hall of Famer, not someone who deserves to be battered around like a piñata. She also deserves to own her own narrative and demystify this pseudo drama. Deadline gave her the opportunity to do just that, catching her just before she headed off to be honored tonight with husband Frank Marshall at the Oscar Wilde Awards.
This guy is such a fucking idiot. Sorry.
So that's okay. Okay, so Deadline. We've read all these speculative reports that you are out, that there's a frenzy for the next person who's going to take over Lucasfilm. What is the truth? Kathleen Kennedy. The truth is, and I just want to say loud and clear, I am not retiring. I will never retire from movies. I will die making movies. That is the first thing that's important to say. I am not retiring. What's happening at Lucasfilm is I have been talking for quite some time with both Bob and Alan about what eventual succession might look like. We have an amazing bunch of people here, and we have every intention of making an announcement months or a year down the road. That to me says she's confirming. We are in lockstep as to what that's going to be, and I am continuing. I'm producing Mandalorian movie right now, and I'm also producing Sean Levy's movie, which is after that. So I'm continuing to stay at Lucasfilm and looking very thoughtfully with Bob and Alan as to who's stepping in. So that is all underway, and we have every right to make that announcement when we want to make it.
Oh my God, it's like Andre was 100% fucking right. Holy shit. Because that's what he said, that one fucking article before this is they didn't get it out the way she wanted to put it out. Yeah. Now she's pissed because she can't control the fucking narrative.
But I will still say that this is what I was saying and Pro was saying on that stream, that maybe this was like a Joe Biden situation where they just kind of nudged this along, and baloney, somebody threw him a breadcrumb in hopes that he'll be the sleazy, sniveling weasel that they imagine.
Oh yeah, that was definitely leaked on purpose. Yes. There's 2 camps in this right now. As we've been saying for years, there has been a civil war inside. We've been telling you guys this.
But the thing is that the Civil War was quiet, if you want to call it that. Now, I was thinking that maybe they've been talking about her leaving and she wasn't going along the way they wanted.
It only quieted down after Gina, mainly.
Right. I do feel like, and I said this on the stream with you and Andre and Pro and whatever, that I thought that this wasn't a random thing that Baloney went and said this. There is a reason why he came out and said it. There's now a situation where I think that Iger wants her to leave, and maybe instead of like doing something more kind of they're all on the same page and whatever, she started pushing back. She wants to be executive producer on these movies. She wants to be involved. She's never retiring. She'll live forever, whatever the fuck she's saying. And they just said, why don't we just... Yeah, I mean, we'll give the thing to
die.
Like we'll give the thing to Matthew Baloney.
Somehow
he's exactly the type
returned.
of weasel.
Yeah, exactly.
In their eyes, he's probably they think he's the type of weasel that you just give him a breadcrumb, he'll run with this, and it'll cause the effect that we want. And it has caused that effect. Now she's on the defensive, trying to fix the narrative.
Scribe's got to go. Scribe, did you want to chime in?
Yes, please do.
Oh, everyone has said it. When I first heard it's like she's retiring, I thought, didn't we hear this same line 6 months ago or something or whatever? And it would turn out to be nonsense, and she renewed her contract or whatever it was. And so I was always kind of very tenuous. I was kind of like, wait, is it? Did it really happen? Is she really? And I guess it's still nebulous. But yeah, the scenario of someone leaked it before she could make an announcement, and so now she has to play catch up. That sounds more plausible, but I guess we'll see. Even if her succession plan will be to put in, if not literally, figuratively, a clone, someone who will carry the
like I said, somehow forward. Kathleen Kennedy returned.
Yeah, no, I would be amazed if the powers that be suddenly wised up to the point where they need to put in somebody who actually cares about the franchise, could actually right the ship, if there's even a way to do it. I mean, saving this brand at this point, I think as has been mentioned before, you'd have to like shut it down for 5 years and then come back with some kind of soft or just hard reboot or somehow, or just, jump 1,000 years in the future and just ignore everything that Kathleen Kennedy did. But anyway, I got to split because I got a show coming up in about 20 minutes. And it's a super special show because the TEDx is a super secret TEDx that YouTube has hidden.
Oh.
You cannot find this TEDx on YouTube. It was posted about 4 or 5 days ago, and they've delisted it. But I mean, fortunately I was able to grab it. I have my ways. But yeah, if you look at this stars Tess Holliday. If you remember who Tess Holliday is, a super plus size model who's all body positivity and such. And she's got some kind of special message that apparently is so special that TEDx has not listed it for regular viewing on YouTube.
Did they turn off comments?
No, that's the weird thing. They did not turn off comments. So I don't know, but all the comments that were there were very positive. I have no idea what she's going to talk about other than the title. It has something to do with reclaiming her self-worth. So anyway, that's going to come up in about 20 minutes over on TED Excellence on my channel with Bingo and all that good stuff. So if you're curious, I'm curious. I'm curious to know what is so strange about a Tess Holliday TEDx talk that they would delist, at least as of me talking right now, unless they've changed it in the last hour or something. They've hidden it from public view. So we'll find out in about 20 minutes. But nice seeing you guys on here, and hope you all have a good rest of your Thursday and Friday. And I'll hopefully be on the morning show tomorrow. And nice seeing you, Script and Price and Nick and Six and Tom and chat.
Nice to see
Bye-bye.
you, Brad.
Thanks, Brad.
Great to see you, dude.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
All right. So was there more of this then, Six? I think
Yes.
there was.
Okay, deadline. That you are looking within seems to give credence to what we've heard, that an exec-like Chief Creative Officer Dave Filoni is in a good position as he works on a Star Wars to write and direct. Kennedy, I can't say who it is because there's just an internal process that goes on inside a large corporation and a publicly held company as to how we go about making deals, finalizing decisions, and making announcements. There's nothing unusual about that, and we're in that process. Deadline. This flurry of press coverage, it sounds like chaos. What's the reality? Kennedy, chaos? There has never been any chaos that we know exactly what the plan is. And we've been talking about it, as I said, nonstop for the last couple of years because, for obvious reasons, I'm not going to be here forever. George asked me 13 years ago to step in, and now I'm looking at who's going to replace me. And as I said, we have a bench of people internally to handle the business, the creative side. The job has grown also since I stepped in. There was no streaming. There weren't a lot of things that we're involved in right now going on, so it has grown.
This lady annoys me. Sorry.
Deadline. How far down the road do you expect before a change gets made and then you go off and produce these two big Star Wars things? Kennedy, we'll probably make an announcement months or a year out, and I have every intention of sticking around to help that person be successful. I'm already producing the Mandalorian movie, and Sean Levy's is after that. Deadline. I recall these same retirement predictions were rendered a while ago, and you re-upped, and here you are. What do you make of this fixation on your job status? Kennedy, I truly don't know. In any discussion previously about me retiring or quitting or any of those things, that's complete rumor mill because through all these reports, I've just continued doing my job and continuing my contract. Nothing unusual. It all has just been manufactured. Deadline.
Well,
go ahead, Nick.
All right. Oh, I was just going to throw in. It's funny how she says nothing unusual because we have seen a whole career of failure since she has been on here. And there's nothing unusual about that. That's unprecedented.
Yeah, nothing to see here, folks. Nothing behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Deadline. The connotation is you're being pushed aside in need of being replaced, though that's not what I've heard. Kennedy, is absolutely not the case. It could not be further from the truth, and everything that we do inside of Lucasfilm is in lockstep and in communication with Disney. We all know what's going on. The communication has been completely collaborative, as you would expect. This is a big piece of business for them, and they want to empower me to help them make that decision and that choice. I'm doing that.
She sounds a lot like Kamala there. Sorry.
Yeah. And then she talks a little bit about, I don't know. Do you want me to read like all this?
If you want, if it's interesting, go for it. If not, we can.
I mean, I can tell me to stop or to skip ahead. Or if you want to scan it and maybe I can skip to the next question, but I'll go ahead. Deadline. Well, you know what? I'm placing some blame on Marvel's Kevin Feige because he had that magnificent streak of superhero hits and set an impossible high bar. But now he's starting to take shrapnel. How daunting is it to run a company based on beloved and iconic IP? What has been the most challenging thing about running Lucasfilm when fans of the original trilogy fixate measure everything against it and don't see the business need of broadening the franchise when Disney paid so much for it? It's what will now go through with James Bond. Kennedy. It is something I think about all the time. It's fascinating to think about how you sustain a brand, especially Star Wars, which is just about to celebrate its 50th anniversary. And so to analyze and understand what was inspiring George when he created Star Wars, when he was still looking at Saturday matinees and Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon, and those are things of the past.
Leading the witness.
And those are things of the past and politically what he was reflecting in his stories, because Star Wars has always had a kind of world building and it reflects a certain amount of our society. The world, needless to say, is changing by the second, and consequently, the audience has changed dramatically. How they consume things. We're seeing this reflected in the health of the movie business and what it really means for streaming and what all these other platforms that may be on the horizon. You're trying to look forward, and at the same time, you're trying to create stories that feel familiar. So you're moving into the future, but you're maintaining a sense of familiarity. I think that's the hardest balance. That's when you have a brand that's this expansive. You're also, and this is something we work very hard at, you try to find different entry points for different generations, because that's what Star Wars has always been. It's a very generational brand, and we want to sustain that. And we work hard to sustain that. So George gave us the gift of storytelling, being across lots of different genres, and that gives us a lot of opportunity to try things. What we've really enjoyed about the streaming space is we've been able to experiment. It's harder to do that in the movie space, and now I think that that's why it feels so good to be able to move into a Mandalorian movie as we're coming off of 3 seasons of a very successful show. We've actually built an audience for that, and we gave the young audience an opportunity to enter Star Wars at a different place and not feel like you have to have seen everything. It can become their Star Wars, and that, I think, is the fun storytelling challenge. Deadline. You've got a long resume of big movies. Compared to that, how much tougher is the challenge of so much public scrutiny and second guessing by the rabid fan base? It's not uncommon to develop a project with big names who fall out when visions don't align, but they get reported as a big implosion. Kennedy. What you just said, though, is so interesting to me, Mike, because that is the development. It doesn't matter if you're doing Star Wars or anything else. What's troubling and frustrating is that our development gets scrutinized. And I don't know any other production company where their development gets scrutinized like that. It's very hard for anything to happen within Star Wars without some aspect of it becoming public before you even want it to become public. So I guess managing the message in some way is also...
They did not talk about this long on the fucking red carpet. This is bullshit. This was all pre-planned. It's so interesting that you said that. Yeah, because you knew he was going to...
So I guess managing the message in some way is also quite a challenge, because, of course, not every single thing we put in development are we going to make. That's not unusual. We want to make those things that we feel are the best. We want to make those things that, as time passes, feel relevant to what the audience is responding to. So there's constant discussion around that. So yeah, that's a tricky one, because a lot of the scrutiny around Star Wars and the negativity has been about development. Of course, we're going to develop lots of different things with an understanding that not everything gets made. Deadline. I broke a piece last fall about Simon Kinberg making a deal to write and produce a Star Wars trilogy. How's that going? Kennedy. We're absolutely rolling fast and furiously. That has gone exceptionally well, and he's literally going to script as we speak.
To script.
I was going to say, but she didn't mention that before, or the Rey movie, but go ahead. Sorry, 6.
We'll see something probably around... Anybody jump in anytime. We'll see something probably around June. Simon, if you remember, he did some work with us years ago with the animated show, which was a really wonderful collaborative experience. And then he got very, very busy with X-Men, and then recently became available again. And he segued into this space beautifully. We're really excited about where that's headed. Deadline. There are spin-offs, and then there is the core Star Wars story broken into trilogies. Is this a continuation of that? Kennedy. This is the next iteration, the new saga that moves us into the future. Deadline. And the one by Deadpool and Wolverine director Sean Levy? Kennedy. That's also in the future. It's all post the first 9. Sean's is a standalone Star Wars story that'll take place post 9, maybe 5 or 6 years out. And Mandalorian really stands on its own, because there we're dealing with a whole other era in the New Republic. We have other development going on in that space as well. So that's the space that we're pretty much focused on right at the moment, because obviously with Mandalorian, we have a pretty good sense of of where that's going. And with this, it's all pretty much new characters. We may bring some of the characters back from the sequel saga, but pretty much new characters. Deadline. How many development type projects do you have percolating that you feel confident will turn into something down the line? Kennedy. To play it safe, I'd say 3 or 4 right at the moment. And a large part of it, Mike, is who is the talent we're attaching. And that's a challenge in and of itself these days because people get really busy. So you find yourself having to wait with a lot of the top talent doing streaming and movies now. They're juggling schedules. And when you do Star Wars, you pretty much have to step into it and not have any other competing work going on. It's a good 2 to 3 years minimum commitment. And that's tough to get top talent to be able to carve out that kind of time. So that's part of the challenge as well. Deadline. You've still got that prequel with James Mangold, who's Oscar nominated for the Bob Dylan movie, A Complete Unknown. Kennedy. Yep, he's working on this script right now. Simon's working on scripts right now. Sean, we have been working with him already for about 1.5 years. These guys are available now. Jim, he got delayed a bit because of the Dylan movie and the awards season. You have to accommodate top talent to a certain extent, and quality is so important with what it is we're trying to do. I like to wait for people that I think are passionate and really good to step into Star Wars. Deadline. Any others that I've forgotten? Kennedy. Well, I keep waiting for Taika, and he is working with another writer now. He's so busy. I love him. I think if we ever do get a script from Taika, it's going to be fantastic. I already saw a first act that I loved, but tying him down, it's tricky. Deadline. I still remember seeing his Thor Ragnarok, entering with low expectations, watching his exuberant vision and thinking, this is what you want when you go to a movie theater on a Saturday night. Kennedy. It's so true. And that's exactly the tone we're always looking for with filmmakers who can pull that off. It's not like they're a dime a dozen. You're really trying to find the diamond in the rough, and he's one of them. Deadline. So even when you hand the reins to a Lucasfilm protege, it sure sounds like you're going to be in that world for 8 or 10 years. Fair? Kennedy. I don't know if I'm going to say that, but yeah, it's possible. Deadline. Might you also go back to working with your husband, Frank Marshall, who's doing a documentary on Barbra Streisand, another on Fleetwood Mac? Kennedy. He is truly something. I cannot keep pace most of the time with what he's doing. And then he just opened a play on Broadway and he's finishing Jurassic. It makes me feel like I'm standing still. Deadline. Do you look forward to the point where the two of you can kind of focus on collaborating on these projects that you've always cooked up together, whether it was at Amblin or elsewhere? Kennedy. Oh, sure. If something came along that to the two of us, we loved coming back together and being able to work with Mangold on the indie movie, that was a real treat. And to be working with Steven Spielberg and, as they say, getting the band back together, that was really fun. We had
They didn't get the band back together. Shut up. Shut up, you dumb bitch. She doesn't have one screenplay. She doesn't have everything. He's working on a script. He's working on a script. Scripts that people are working on don't mean shit. Sorry,
this is funny because this is supposedly on a red carpet at the what event?
No way. This was planned in
said
advance.
more in this interview than she has said in any interview in the last 10 fucking years.
This is a team of publicists sat around and wrote this together with her. This is not some random interview. I don't know what red carpet. Show me the video. Is there a video of this happening? If
no
not,
shit.
This was coordinated in advance with things that everybody set up. This is a crock of shit. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I agree.
What it said at the beginning of the article, it said, talking about how she's able to respond to, the rumor that she's retiring. Deadline gave her that opportunity, catching her just before she was headed off to be honored tonight. So she probably did this from her office or at home.
This was done through emails. They sent her an email. They sent her an email, and there were a team of PR people that she pays a ton of money with the hundreds of millions of dollars that she had that carefully crafted these answers, sent it, and this was done via email correspondence. She did not sit and answer these questions, and they didn't come up with these questions. It's not spontaneous. Everybody planned this, and whoever this is, this Michael Fleming guy, he is not a journalist. This is exactly why the legacy media is dead. This man is not a journalist.
Yeah, I agree 100%. This is complete Fugazi bullshit. This is exactly what Andre said in his video, his last video, when we were hearing that this was going to, basically that's what he was saying, is that this is somebody in her camp that leaked this out because this came out not the way they had planned. And she basically just confirmed exactly what Andre said. They had a plan. They wanted to announce it on their time, in their own way.
Yeah.
And she's pissed now because she didn't get to do that. And now they don't get to control the narrative, basically. That's basically what she's complaining about. Is there any
Okay.
more of this 6? Or?
Yeah, we're almost there, folks. Deadline. Any regrets? Kennedy. No, I mean, far from regrets. I've loved the challenge of stepping into this space, and literally space, and being with Star Wars over these years, taking on the challenges of expanding on Star Wars. I've loved working with Disney, and the company has been fantastic in its support of the IP. They've expanded things in ways I don't think George could have even imagined. And it's been such a learning experience. I've never been an executive before. I'm a filmmaker through and through. I even approached the executive role as a filmmaker. I love working with filmmakers. That is my lifeblood. It's what I enjoy more than anything. And being able to do that inside of Star Wars has been really fun because we have people who step into Star Wars who are diehard fans. And we have people who step into Star Wars who never really knew the IP that well. And if you look at someone like Tony Gilroy, he has done transformative, exceptional work. I've been working with Tony for more than a decade. I don't think Tony would have ever imagined he would have done that. That creative experience on Andor has been fantastic. And second season is coming out next month. That's where the satisfaction comes from for me. And I just hope that continues.
This
Deadline.
is one delusional bitch.
Will you arm twist Tony into doing one of these Star Wars movies after he was the uncredited backstop on Rogue One? Kennedy. I don't know if I can. I don't think he ever believed he'd be decade inside Star Wars. He's writing some things on his own, and I think he'd like to get back into the director's chair, so we'll see what he does. But he's such a talent, just fantastic. Deadline. He also provided the creative spine for the Bourne Identity. Kennedy. That's how we all met on Epstein Island. Deadline. 2 final questions. Will you step out as Lucasfilm boss this year? Kennedy. We really don't know at this stage. There's so much going on, Mike. I don't know. Deadline. When it happens, who will make the decision? Kennedy. Me. It's my decision. This is 100% my decision.
Oh my God. Well, we got some answers now. Is there more?
No, that's it. That's it.
She made sure that we know that it's her decision.
Yep. She's steering the boat, and even when she retires, she'll still be looking over that person's
Amy
shoulder,
Pascal
pushing the
hooks
button.
in. Wow. All right. Somehow Kathleen Kennedy returned. Exactly. Script, are you there? Or are you still on your phone call?
He fell asleep.
I was thinking he's still on his phone call because he'd been laughing along with most of his. Who wants to go first on this piece of shit? I mean, Price, you've said a few things already, but Nick, how much bullshit could you handle here?
This is just we already know this. We've lived this for years. I feel like everybody already understood. I'm not surprised at all this article came out. I mean, I think that we all kind of figured out that guy, that baloney guy, he must have known something. Maybe it wasn't like cemented, but he knew that this was happening, and I think he was tipped off. And this is just her trying to steer the narrative in her direction, and she has enough still, even now, in the mainstream access legacy media, has enough of these kind of shill idiots that'll just go and print exactly word for word what her people said to write. This is just a con job, this whole article. But I'll be quiet now.
Nick, you've been quiet.
I mean, you all said it, really. She's trying to, control the narrative around this story, and it is definitely looking very eerily similar to last year's situation with the Biden-Harris situation, where, Biden basically was told he was going to be quitting, and I believe that's kind of what is happening here. I don't think she was actually intending to quit. I don't think she'll ever want to quit. And even if Disney says, oh, she's stepping down. Yeah, she'll never concede that she's actually left. But she'll have to be forced her way out. So I got nothing else really to say that has been said because you guys all said it.
She's going to wait until her husband gets cancer, and then she'll have to retire so she can take care of him, and then she'll be like this extra hero. I don't know.
Yeah, I could see your point on that. To me, this story is the most exhaustive story ever, ever.
I know we've been talking about it for years,
and I don't care what she does. I really don't. I wish I didn't. I wish I didn't mean that too. That's the part that I hate about it. Is I would have never imagined, 10 years ago, I wouldn't give a shit at all about upcoming Star Wars. Like I'll still watch, movies or play it on an old video game or read a book, and I'll be happy. But I just couldn't imagine being in a world where I wasn't excited for upcoming. But here we are, man. I would have never believed me. I would have never believed future me. I would probably have tried to strangle future me just for saying that.
Yeah.
And yep, future me has to spill the beans and tell the truth to 10 years younger Nick. And 10 years younger Nick is very resentful about it. Whereas 10 years later, Nick is just like, who fucking cares?
Star Wars is dead, and this is just like we're just sitting around, and this is just nonsense at this point. It doesn't really even matter.
It really
Yeah, because
is sad.
whoever takes over, it's all going to be the same. So
Yep. That's the thing. The well of the type of people she's brought into, it's the well's too deep. So it's like, yeah, sure, you cut off the head, but the whole Hydra thing about 2 more shall take its place. Whether it's someone they bring in who acts more the same, or people who they just promote from within and bring them up to do the same thing. So it's all about maintaining a status quo, and Star Wars is not an event anymore, much like James Bond. Those things were events. Now they're just things that come out all the time, and they don't feel special anymore. Maybe I'm premature on the James Bond thing, but just judging by
you're
how
probably
history
right on the
plays
money.
out.
I mean,
I hate that I might be right, but considering how history has worked, when a big corporation acquires a legendary IP and the response to it is just to put out as much of it as possible, I don't see any other route where Amazon goes with it.
yeah, I mean, Amazon, maybe if they bring like somebody like Cavill and bring a decent showrunner, like a decent, not showrunner, somebody to run the franchise. It's not like Jennifer Salke
Needs
that
to be
actually
a
likes
James
action and
Bond
male
flip.
stuff. Maybe you got something, but with Star Wars, it's so much more difficult to try to correct what happened. All you can do is just jump to the future, which is why I guess even her idiots around her said, let's do stuff that's in the future. But when it's doing stuff in the future, it's not going to dismiss or pretend that the sequels didn't happen. They're still trying to pretend that the sequels are a thing. And as long as she's there with her stupid crap, nothing good is ever going to happen. And even when she
No.
leaves, it's already pretty much too late. But maybe somebody, if he actually liked Star Wars, could do something that's in the future. It'll never repair the franchise, but it'll be something. But under these circumstances, none of it even matters. As long as she's there, as long as they still tie her as executive producer, as long as she's on set, as long as she wants to produce these films forever, and they don't announce that she's fired and they escort her out of the building, then none of this matters.
No,
Well, she'll never be fired because
never.
Bob Iger doesn't hate her, and neither does Alan Bergman, because if they did, something would have happened. The other aspect you also have to remember is that even if they were to hire Star Wars fans, they're only going to hire the Star Wars fans that also are in line with Disney agenda. And they exist.
Excuse me.
I agree.
Sorry. Excuse me.
I don't even know what the heck you said.
Filoni, but yeah. Anyway.
Well, that's what they're going to do. I mean, you know that. That's exactly what it is. It's
Filoni is her Chapek.
to a degree.
Filoni is exactly what I've said all along. He has his little characters that he loves to deal with and do things for and lift up above, and it just so happens to align with her agenda.
Yes. And the fact of the matter is that, again, whoever succeeds her is going to be signed off by Iger and co. Because Iger, I don't think he's really going to be leaving anytime soon, even though he's supposed to be gone by the end of next year, I think it is. So yeah, we'll see that. When I first saw the Baloney article, the first thing to my mind was, if you believe this, I've got a Nubian hyperdrive to sell you. Cause it's just not, I don't buy it. I think there's 2 faults to this. Number one, Lucasfilm was probably trying to figure out who is leaking stuff out and then coordinated this so that they expose the leak. And number 2, they also wanted to humiliate Matthew Baloney. Because he has been actually he has been off his game for quite a while now.
Well,
this is almost going to be like a nail on the coffin, to the point he may have been 100% right, but because this interview that happened before her event has come out, it's designed perfectly to destroy his credibility even further.
How do you figure when she just said that in the next few months or a year?
Well, he did
I
say
think
that
she's
he was
just
right
teasing.
here, but
Yeah. I think she's teasing because the fact of the matter is you can announce your retirement whenever, but you don't actually have to like fulfill it. The other part too is that again, well, there was this one woman who I think she left for Universal that they were kind of gearing towards having her succeed, but I knew that she wasn't going to be the case because she'd already been headhunted by a bunch of other studios. The person I think who's going to succeed is going to be Carrie Beck because she's been involved in every single Disney Plus series. And she's kind of like shoulder to shoulder with Dave Filoni. And she's kind of taken over the position that Jon Favreau had to a degree. So she's kind of primed and ready. She's also young enough that if she can be there for decades, maintaining whatever agenda is going on. The other aspect being is that there is no reason for Disney Lucasfilm to change at all until someone completely different than Bob Iger gets to the head of Disney, because it's going to be a top-down approach. So long as Bob Iger's there, Kathleen Kennedy will be there. And if Bob Iger ends up actually retiring and leaving for the first time, that is when you're going to get an official announcement that, okay, this is the person who's going to be prepped to succeed Kathleen Kennedy. And Kathleen Kennedy is going to work on some, personal projects within Disney, Star Wars, Lucasfilm, whatever IPs that studio has. And eventually it's going to be a slow transition where she will kind of fade into the back and pass the crown to her successor. And then once that happens, that's how the transition is going to be. And then if someone suddenly gets a hold of Disney that isn't Bob Iger, the first thing that's going to happen is, yep, we're cleaning house, because that's what every new studio exec does, especially when they're the brand new president and CEO of a studio. And that's the only way you're going to get Disney Lucasfilm changed, because her story group's not going anywhere. Her story group's going to be there long after she retires. Filoni's going to be there long after she retires. Those are the two biggest obstacles to actually getting good quality Star Wars films. And you can argue for a break of 5 years, but guess what? To the rest of the world, Star Wars hasn't been in theaters since 2019. You've had that 5-year break. I'm sorry, nobody cares about Disney Plus.
I think the biggest sin of this whole interview was that she tried to claim she was a filmmaker.
She hasn't been a filmmaker since she became the president of Lucasfilm.
She's never been a filmmaker.
She's a producer.
Period.
That counts.
Not to me. I don't care. Like I said before, a monkey could have fucking do her goddamn job.
No.
Like anybody in the world, like that's my point. Is like Steven Spielberg, Robert Zemeckis, all those people, none of them were successful because Kathleen Kennedy was there. Like you could literally go back in time, erase her, insert anybody else just about, and it would, the same results would probably happen. That's my point. Like, I hate when people give her so much credit for shit she had absolutely motherfucking nothing to do with. Nothing. Right? And I'm not trying to be a dick about it, but when you have the world's easiest job, like the way even the way this article was licking her asshole, right? About all the accolades that she has. It's like, okay, now take away any movie where you have an A-list director and writer involved, and then give me the list. And it comes with shit like fucking Milk Money, right?
Well,
like that's my point.
Well, compared to other producers, she was never a kingmaker. Like that's the difference. She wasn't a kingmaker. The problem being is that she ain't no Joel Silver. No, she's no Joel Silver. But one thing that we do know about her is that she was a good negotiator and problem solver, because again, you have someone like Steven Spielberg at his peak and you're trying to get permits or something. Well, guess what? They're not bending over backwards to let Steven Spielberg do a movie. They're actually going to try to extort the hell out of him because he's Steven Spielberg.
True. I get what you're saying to a point, but at the same time, there is a point. He's still going to be able to get a hell of a lot more done as Steven Spielberg himself personally, and it's proven because he's done it, than she ever could. Right? That's my point. And I'm not even talking about my whole Brooklyn Bridge thing either. I'm talking about things like he got fucking Who Framed Roger Rabbit done. She didn't. She had anything to do with that shit. She can sit there and take fucking credit all day for it. But he's the one who walked into Disney and said, look, I can get this done. Let me do it. He goes over there to Warner Brothers, says, look, you guys want me to keep making movies with you guys? Great. Then let them use the fucking Looney Tunes. That's how that deal got done.
Yeah.
Like, it's Steven Spielberg. It ain't Kathleen Kennedy. I'm trying to sit here and go, Tell me one time where she was inserting her power and being something of some sort of fucking credit to the film. Never. Outside of maybe making Joe Johnston never want to work with her again after Jurassic Park 3, if that story is true.
3 she screwed up with, but the first Jurassic Park, when they got stuck on the island, Kathleen Kennedy solved that problem so that they could shoot. Not maybe. That's officially what she did.
Okay, fine. But she's a good secretary. That's all Steven Spielberg has ever said about her, is that she's a good secretary. So she has good organizational skills. Great.
Yeah, well, I mean, those are actually really important to a producer, but negotiations are actually better.
And she may be all right at that, because that's what Amy Pascal was always kind of good at, too, is putting people together and making negotiations. I'm not going to say that part, but again, if Amy Pascal can do that fucking job...
Well, I mean, it all comes down to be how good of a people person you are. I mean, heck, in Raiders of the Lost Ark, the guy that spent months, practicing that sword fight for Harrison Ford, he had to be told ever so politely that, guess what, your scene is not happening because Harrison Ford's just going to shoot you. It was Kathleen Kennedy that had to make sure that he was willing to do that for that day and not just leave and screw over the entire production for that time, because then they'd have to find someone to come in and step in right away to do that.
I'll give you a better example. She was no Sarah Risher. Okay, so yeah, that's a great story.
Or Laura Schuler,
or Laura Schuler Donner, or anybody like that's my point. Like people who actually went out of their fucking way. Like here's a great example of like anytime they had problems on Nightmare on Elm Street, they turn to her and they go, "You're pregnant. Go see what you can get done." And you'd be surprised how often a woman crying who's pregnant can get shit done.
Yeah, no, it absolutely works. But that comes to the other part too, is she was not a kingmaker, but the fact of the matter is that she got in with the right crowd. And the other part too is even the people whose career she did help, like they run Hollywood today. Like that's
fair. Like M. Night Shyamalan, I'll give her some credit for, and some other ones. But anyway, that being said, Six, you were about to say something.
Speaking of a crying pregnant woman, Price has to go.
Oh shit, that's right. I'm sorry, Price. You have to run, and Nick has to run as well.
All right,
we got some super chats. Let me double check. None of them are for you guys, but go ahead and plug your business.
10 p.m. Price of Reason Live channel. There's a Quantum Leap review, like a panel, and then at 11:45 p.m. the Night Owl with Professor R2 and guests.
All right, Nick, what you got going on?
TNT in an hour, a Klobby's Comic Shop tomorrow night. Toxic Tuesday will be off for a week before we do 3 weeks of Jason Statham stuff with Crank. But meanwhile, as a Phil and Gap, me and Marty of the Sea will talk the first 2 episodes of Daredevil Born Again. And if the show's good, the first episodes, we'll talk about the rest of the episodes on a weekly basis on Wednesday night. So that will be the litmus test. Thanks for having me. Been a good discussion. Kathleen Kennedy will never retire until she's dead. And laugh and don't be sad about this anymore. If you need it,
I thought she was going to live forever.
The final proof. But yeah, thanks for having me.
And how much Crank am I going to need? Like you said, how many weeks we're doing this?
Crank. We're going to do Crank, and then we're going to do the Transporter, and then the Beekeeper.
I thought we were just watching movies on Crank. Starring Jason Statham. I got to go cancel an order with a very seedy drug dealer.
Oh dear.
Well, Tom, you should listen to Nick and start watching Crank, because it's always better.
That was a really dumb joke.
Crank.
I went far for that one. All right, well, see you soon, guys. Take care.
All right.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks, chat. Thanks, panel.
All right, let's see what you guys are talking about here. We've got Shanatsky, who says, until she's 100% gone, 100% is gone, don't believe anything. Well, and I already said, even when she does technically retire, she's still going to have that producer or executive producer credit for years on Star Wars shit. It's just kind of like the Amy Pascal deal or anything else like that.
Most
likely, she'll be popping up.
Yeah.
She's always going to have a key for the back door. So she'll just kind of randomly show up and start telling people what to do.
Potentially. I think what's pissing her is off. She's not going to get the pomp and circumstance that she really wants.
No. I mean, she's going to get her awards until she dies. And they're all going to be things most people have never heard of before. But she's never going to have that same energy that she got for the very first time when she was at like a Star Wars event and that people were excited that she was coming in. She's never going to have that again.
You know, Mikey's busy on the phone, but I wish he was here right now because...
So, what kind of dumb shit did Grace say this week?
It's been a while. It's been a while, Grace. Guess what she said? She said George Lucas sucked.
Star Wars fans are mean to everybody. They were so mean to George Lucas. There he is. Look how sad he is. Look how sad he is getting $4 billion. Oh, so sad. I mean, by the way, he did a bad job too. Let's be honest.
Shut the fuck up, bitch.
He left. He was like, it's not fun anymore. And he left. Star Wars fans are mean to everybody.
Yeah, I just wanted to get that in there. I knew that would piss Six off.
She's a bitch. Her hair looks pretty good.
Bobblehead. Actually, surprisingly, that's not bad for her.
Yeah,
You're
for her.
Wrong.
Yeah. Still needs to fix the crazy eye makeup, though.
Yeah, that actually is not looking bad. Usually it looks like she just has some kind of weird bedhead thing going on, but tried to do something with it. Oh, we got Rhino in the chat. He says the narrative is fucked, as always. Let's get to these super chats. What else you guys are saying here? Flying Blind says, so if Kennedy isn't leaving, there's still a chance for Acolyte Season 2 at last. Renew it and double the budget. Thank you for the $5, Flying Blind on a rocket cycle. I would not be against this. I could care less at this point. And thank you for being a member for a month as well. Jason Webster sends in 5 Australian, says, for the love of God, will someone at Disney distract Kathleen and Frank by greenlighting Congo 2, please?
That would
well, here's
be
the
amazing.
thing. She doesn't even produce anything with Frank anymore. Frank has been the one producing all the Jurassic films and Twisters. See, here's the beauty of it. Since she left, he's had nothing but success after success.
He's been living on the other side of the planet.
Yeah, with hanging out with fucking what's his face until he passed away, Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah,
he kept posting pictures of him and Jimmy Buffett in the boat for years. There, that's all he would post. Then once in a while he'd post something else, but like, yeah.
Brie Larson.
Yeah, Brie Larson's feet. You said he liked her feet. No, I'm just kidding.
No, like she would take selfies of her like sticking her butt out, and he would like them. Back when on Twitter you could track to see who liked what.
Well, now we know why she didn't get a job at Star Wars.
Yeah.
Kathy got jealous.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Jason Webster sends in 5 Australian dollary dues. Says, in all due respect, for the past decade, Kathleen hasn't been making movies. She's been making shit, stupefying, hideous, inane tripe. Yeah, shit actually has more purpose than those movies. Shit can actually be used to grow things or fuel.
That's right.
Yeah. I don't even think you could burn those DVDs. I mean, they'll just melt and cause
terrible.
chemical. Yeah, and cause chemical stuff in the air. And yeah. Flying Blind on a rocket cycle sends in another 5. Says, I wonder if this business with Kathleen Kennedy and Disney is most passive-aggressive overthrow in modern corporate history. We've all been kind of speculating on. Here's the thing. I think it is one of the most. I think that everybody knows that she's fucked up, but they're just too goddamn afraid to say it to her face. Because Kathleen Kennedy, as I point out as always, is one of the most powerful people in Hollywood, because that's one thing Script is right about. She can make and break careers. She's got that power now.
Yeah.
Right? Regardless of how I feel, my point was going through her earlier career, here and there, yeah, maybe she played a role in a few things, but you still could have replaced her with just about anybody else, including her husband, and I don't think anything would have changed. I mean, like, I don't think it would have caused any ripple in the timeline had somebody erased her. Like, that's my point. But that being said, yes, at this point now, she is so powerful that nobody wants to fucking piss her off. In fact, you even heard how like people like Leslie Headland were like calling her Queen Kathy and shit, right?
Yeah, but Leslie Headland is always kind of a nobody. The thing you have to realize is that if Disney were to fire her, everyone that actually like got their job from Kathleen Kennedy would actually refuse and boycott to work for Disney, and that is a lot of people.
Do you actually get fired in Hollywood or in corporate anything unless you kill somebody or steal something anyway?
The only person that I can think of in recent years that actually got fired was James Gunn by Alan Horn.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'm trying to think. Like you never actually get quote unquote fired.
Well, like, it's the same rules as in a regular thing. You're in the midst of a contract, and your contract has now been prematurely terminated. That is a firing. If you complete your contract and they don't renew you, that's not a firing. That's just you fulfilled exactly what we needed to do. We're moving on to another project, another thing. And guess what? You can always end up coming back there because they might say, yep, we got a new idea. We definitely want you for it. We're going to make a new contract with you. And that's how it works. But actual termination, James Gunn was probably the most recent. There's an actor on The Expanse. He was fired. Roseanne was fired from her show.
Mostly cancel culture years. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
other than when
other
people
areas,
either killed somebody or something in the past is the only time I can think of anything.
Yeah, because even in a lot of other contracts up until like recently, you could have a creative differences clause, which basically means that you still get paid. And if things aren't moving on the timeline you want because of creative differences, meaning like the director or the writer or the actors who have those in their contracts want to go in one direction, the studio doesn't, then they can use that clause to basically say, okay, we're resolving the contract, which means you get a full payout. And then we're restarting with someone else who will be more in line with us. And it's not officially a termination because it's a mutual separation. It's like I quit and like, we agree you should quit type of thing.
True. I mean, basically what I was getting at is, yes, people technically get fired, but it's like publicly, it's always a big song and dance is my point. But yeah, you basically came around to that anyway. But
well, I mean, like, again, Hollywood does not work like your 9 to 5. It just doesn't. It's different rules altogether. No matter how much you try to reconcile it, it just does not work that way.
No, but have you seen Ezra Miller's latest pictures? My God.
Why would I want to?
No, I haven't.
Well, I'm just saying of somebody who should get fired.
Well, not
fired. He's not even working in Hollywood.
Yeah, I'd say he's pretty much been fired. Oh, let me see if I can find him even. Because I actually had something else up here too that I wanted to bring up before we go.
Well, I'll look while you read.
Okay, well, actually, this was something that came out, and I thought it was interesting, but we'll get back into the super chats here in just a moment. Since we have script here, I don't know if you've heard anything, but this is coming from Jeff Schneider, and he has a bias against James Gunn and Warner Brothers, so it's kind of surprising to hear him say that the current cut of Superman test screened and reportedly received great feedback.
Oh, he's doing this because he screwed up with his previous thing where everybody hated the test screening, which was a lie.
Yeah. So that could be too.
Remember, this is the guy that got beat up by Uwe Boll.
This is, and that's what I was talking about. So like, yeah, he got, and I called him out on that shit too. And yeah, so, well, Gunn actually did too. And
yeah, well, Jeff Snyder, kind of like with Matthew Bologna, they've all got a hate boner for David Zaslav.
Yeah, they got biases. And that's what I keep trying to remind people.
Yeah.
Which is possibly why they were fired or left in the first place. And then fucking Bologna went and hired fucking my favorite guy, what's his face?
Scott Mendelson?
Scotty Mendelson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was, I mean, it's dumb. Like the other part too, I think it's kind of funny is that it looks like I've heard some tailings that Pam Abdi and Mike DeLuca were trying to get involved in the marketing for Superman, but they're technically prohibited from DCU Studios.
Oh, yeah. You heard that? Because there's some other rumor that kind of goes along with that he had bitched everybody out, and especially Pam Abdi and Mike DeLuca for the failure of Joker 2. So I wonder if this was the same meeting.
Well, probably, because technically Joker 2 is kind of a hybrid between regular Warner Brothers films and then the carryover from DC Studios, which has now become DC Films, which has now become DC Studios and DC Universe. So yeah, there's some there's some things going on over there, which is interesting because all I know is that on the marketing side of things, it looks like James Gunn picked his people, and then the rumor is that Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi were kind of informally telling them that they're also part of the advisory board for the marketing team, and they were giving suggestions that James Gunn was not aware of, and that led to the initial teaser being that whole comment of he has to work it to make it better because apparently things were changed and he had to get them changed back. And even some of the other media, like the tug of war with were they going to do a Super Bowl trailer or were they not going to do a Super Bowl trailer? So apparently there's some workup going on there. That's as far as I know. All I know is that Zaslav was not happy with Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi. And I think that also goes into why Zack Snyder was surprisingly invited to that private event, even though it's technically in writing that Zack Snyder is not allowed anywhere on Warner Brothers property for the time being. And James Gunn obviously is going to let him in because, of course, they both got their big break with Dawn of the Dead remake.
Well, and I think there was a few folds to that.
Yeah.
First of all, I understand why he's not allowed, because, I mean, he did a bunch of shit that almost got, well, I mean, not almost got, but basically a lot of producers and other people got death threats and other bullshit because of that shit.
Yeah.
And then as far as him being in there, I think he's trying to get the Snyder Bros off his fucking back.
I think so too. I think it's a political move to be like, if Zack Snyder gives James Gunn the blessing, then they'll leave him alone.
Yeah, I think so. But he's already tried that once and it didn't work. It's not going to work again.
No.
But that being said, it's good news, I guess, coming from Jeff Snyder, but you could be right that he's more or less trying to save face, because it was probably an internal test screening. I'll be honest with you. I doubt it was any kind of public test screening, or we probably would have got a few Reddit threads already of leaks. That's usually when public people see it, because at this point, they probably have NDAs and sign all that kind of business, I bet. Or if anything gets leaked out, they'll have a good idea who it probably was.
No, the only thing I heard about the test screening is that you have to have industry credentials, and you are allowed, other people from other studios were allowed to participate. So, yeah. It wasn't fully 100% internal of Warner Brothers employees only, who would give back, just total line feedback. There's apparently friends within.
So it wasn't like the BVS one, is what I was getting at.
Right. Yeah. It's more like, we have some friends at Paramount, Universal, Sony that came by to, take a look at it. Maybe even some actors that aren't part of the project but might be interested in working for Warner Brothers in the future. Kind of like how that Tom Cruise take a look at The Flash, and Tom Cruise said what he said so he could probably get an IMAX screen for his movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just studio politics at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, again, James Gunn has a really solid track record with pleasing audiences with his films. So he's got more potential than anyone else that's handled Superman in the last decade or so.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. What did you send me here, Six? Because you sent me my own. Oh, this is Frank Marshall's. Never mind.
I was just showing you that Frank had tweeted out that article we just went over.
Oh, yeah, of course he will.
Yeah.
He does that. I thought it was mine for a second there. I'm like, oh, it's Frank Marshall's. Never mind. Flying Blind on a Rocket Cycle gifted 5 memberships. Thank you for that. ActionCom says, when making the video about KK, be sure to use the Remain Calm, All Is Well clip from Animal House that sums up the press. If it comes to that and we can find a way to work it in, I'll definitely do my best. Mark Daly, you got to tell me again how to say that in the chat. I always forget. Sends in 5. It says, happy birthday, Mexican Iron Man, best YouTuber that's not a YouTuber. Are you still back there, Mikey? He was on the phone. So we'll see.
Yeah, last we heard he's on a family Zoom call with his grandma.
It is his birthday, so. Jason Webster sends in 10 Australian dollar dues. Says, oh yes, such great fare like Rise of Skywalker, Ahsoka, and In the Wash, and The Acolyte sounds like gentle to the stomach laxative. Not to mention Indiana Jones and the diaper of dysentery. And I said this the other morning. I'm curious what you think about the script. I said, of all the things that probably kind of push this, if anything, if internally they're like, yeah, it's time you step aside, it's got to be Indiana Jones more so than it was Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
Because they let Star Wars go on for so fucking long. And Indiana Jones is the one that was the real black eye, because they can't hide. Because even that article that Six was reading was like they were hiding behind the box office on Star Wars, at least. We knew that.
Yeah, like Indiana Jones is a very tight franchise of just a few movies and the short-lived series of his origins of sorts. Star Wars has enough content in there that it was able to endure a lot of flops, but it's now into apathy mode right now.
But also Indy cost upwards of $400 to $500 million from what we know too, so that was another problem.
Yeah, it did. I mean, it wasn't Disney's money out of their own coffers, but yeah, it was a lot of money spent, which means that they were not bringing back as much.
Probably puts it in the top 5 biggest bombs of all time now, I bet.
Oh, 100%. I mean, like I'm telling you right now, Disney is salivating over the next Avatar because they know if that makes $2 billion, they can put all of their financial failures from their other movies of Star Wars, Indiana Jones and Marvel against that, so they don't have to pay any taxes on that revenue.
True.
Like they're very,
go.
I mean, it's not a great happiness outcome, but it's one that they can take advantage of.
Indeed, and Mufasa, I don't think made them nearly as much as they're boasting either.
Yeah, you know, I'm pretty sure they're going to be okay because the international market paid for that movie. Like they did, and and as far as I can tell, the theaters got their money back. It's just I don't think the profit margin is to the target that Disney wanted for it at all.
And that's where what I'm getting at is I think Snow White, and then I don't think they're going to do too many more of these live action animated reboots.
Live action hybrid things, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be too many more.
You know, I saw an article about the projected box office for Snow White. I can't remember what the number was, but where did they get that number from? Because I can't even buy tickets for that movie yet in my theaters.
They're basing it on the projections of the live action Cinderella, the live action Beauty and the Beast, the live action Aladdin, Lion King, and Mustafa, and probably even the Lilo and Stitch 2. They're taking a look at audience demographic and statistical interest.
Either way, Lilo and Stitch is going to blow them all out of the water.
Pretty
That's
much.
the only
I
one that
mean,
makes sense to me.
Here's the
but
thing.
yeah.
I suspect that Snow White will do okay, not to the goals that Disney is really hoping for, given the type of investment that they made. But I think it'll do okay because it is primarily meant for little kids, and parents will begrudgingly go to it, especially if you know the all clear is given in that there's no really twisted ideology or anything of that in there, because obviously parents will tolerate the most subtle of things, but not the most blatant.
Yeah. Pilgrim Media sends into and says, clear the carcasses on Star Wars and them write, and then I think he means write a new IP.
Disney doesn't do new IPs.
No, not anymore. What do you think this is? The days of the Ample Dumpling Gang and shit? Psh.
Yeah, no, like as I said, it was the Miracle Tron was made.
Exactly. Like, and that's honestly, if you look back, like, I mean, they had so many years where they would do that. Like, they forgot that that's what they used to do is create that kind of shit. Like, you know, we had the Mighty Ducks when we were in our age group. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids movies.
That was another one that was that was original.
Yep.
I mean, they're few and far between, but they did do them here and there. Most of the original stuff they did.
They produced the Ernest movies and all that kind of stuff. They had a lot of live action. They had a whole live action. In fact, they did a lot more live action original films for the past 40 years leading up to the aughts than they did anything else. The sequel thing didn't even come in. Like, I think the only films they ever had that had sequels were like what, the Apple Dumpling Gang and like
the Apple Dumpling Gang.
A few of those, but that's it. Yeah,
the Mighty Ducks had a bunch of sequels.
Obviously, yeah. I mean, when you get to the 90s, but I mean, like the earlier ones I was talking about.
Well, yeah. I mean, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids had one sequel. Oh, technically two sequels and a TV series.
But they didn't do that very often. That was my point.
Yeah, it was sparingly done.
I think we had a Return to Witch Mountain was the only other one I could think of offhand. And
yeah,
did they do any sequels to like Parent Trap or anything like that back then or no?
Just TV movie versions. I think there's one with Kirstie Alley that they did.
Something like that, but like nothing like big and official in theaters like that. Because all the animated ones were straight to video too.
Yep.
That was, in the Eisner era.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think the only one that went theatrical was Bambi 2. And I don't even know why.
Herbie movies. They did a ton of Herbie movies.
Oh yeah, the Herbie movies. Yeah, you're right. Those were in the 70s, but yeah.
70s, 80s, and then they did some in the late 90s, and then one in the early aughts, and they tried keeping, because Herbie Fully Loaded, I think, was the last big one that they.
Yeah, it was like 01 or something like that, or 2000 or something like that.
Something like that.
I wish they'd release the fucking Bruce Campbell made-for-TV Herbie movie.
Oh,
Does
yeah.
anybody else besides me remember that one?
I remember that one.
I don't know what you're talking about.
They remade the Love. Well, it was kind of a quasi sequel, wasn't it? Because didn't he play the son of the character in the original film? I'm trying to remember now.
Was he?
It was either a remake of the original, or he played the son of the character from the original. Because I think it was like a direct sequel to the original film, but it was a made-for-TV movie, and Bruce Campbell was in it.
Well, it was the Love Bug one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was just called The Love Bug, but I think it was a quasi rebootable sequel thing. And I'm trying to remember, didn't Buddy Hackett even have like a cameo in it or something like that? I'm trying to remember now. It's been so fucking long since I've seen it.
No, it was. I do remember the girl because she was hot. Alexander Wentworth, I think it was. That's all I remember.
Yeah, they're saying it's a sequel, they think, in the chat. That's what I thought. He plays like the son of the... That's what I'm saying. It's the only one that's a direct sequel to any of the other Herbie films. Because he plays the son of the character from the original film, yeah. Oh, yeah, the Shaggy Dog movies, too. Yeah, they had a few of them, but only a few, right? Like, that was my point. And even those were treated a bit more with respect than some of the other shit was later on. Anyhow, we got on a tangent there. Mecha J says, Kennedy is like a tyrant. She'll do or say anything to hold on to as little power as she has, no matter how unpopular she is to the general public. Yeah, I think she's either unaware or she's just being completely ignorant of it on purpose, or what is it, cognitive dissonance? That's what that would be. Deeple 101 sends in 2 and says, I got it. KK is Megatron. Filoni is Starscream. He's going to try and take over, yeah. ActionCom says, Gene Hackman's rankings win. It's a plausibility for the tier list. I was trying to think of something Oscar-related to do this Sunday, if we do one. But then Six reminded me that the Oscars are live on Hulu, so maybe we'll do some sort of Oscar thingy. I don't know. I'm trying to think on that.
Why don't you put something in your posts asking your audience?
Yeah, I'll probably do that tomorrow. That's a good idea.
Yeah, sure you
Or
will.
later on tonight. I got a lot going on the next few days here as it is. I'm trying to figure it all out. And then we got this Kathleen Kennedy thing, and I'm sent it to Andre, and I woke him up, and I'm like, what are we going to do about this? He's like, well, we're going to do a video. Basically. It's like, when? And it's like, because like all the shit we got going on the next few days. ActionCom sends in 2 for that. Thank you. We read this already, but yeah, I'll have to decide on that. I haven't quite decided what we're going to do yet. Mikey, are you back there yet? Because we got a birthday wish for you, but we got this one already, and then we got Toga Free sends in $1.99. Says Pokemon ZA trailer hype. Chikorita finally get love. If I said that right, I probably didn't. If you can tell, I'm not really a Pokemon person. That came out after my time.
Likewise.
Yeah, that's like you opened a dictionary and pointed to a bunch of different words and put them in a sentence. None of that means anything. I don't get it.
Yeah, but I know it's huge right now, and I know there's like a new card set or whatever out that people are going nuts about. I know it's a thing, and I know it's very fucking popular, and I know it's one of the most profitable franchises of all time, if not the number one still.
Well, I'm happy for people who get things that they enjoy from their IPs.
Yeah, it's strange because my kid never really got into it, so I don't really know even vicariously much about it. So yeah, well, I know people are hyped for it though. So there you go. And we got Jason Webster who says Script Doctor gives fascinating insights onto how studio management operates in Hollywood. Well, that's what he's here for.
Yeah, it sucks.
And that's part of the reason why he's here.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if Mikey's coming back, but Mark, I'm sure he'll see your birthday wish one way or the other, because he'll probably go back and check it out, or he's aware of it in the background, because he's still here. He's in the background, but he's like in the back, just looking at all our butts.
Did you get this one?
Yes.
And this one?
Yes.
And this one?
Yes.
Okay. They're still starred for me, so I just wanted to make sure.
Oh, yeah, no, maybe I was gonna say it must be just StreamYards being StreamYards. Typical.
Yeah.
It was acting up like a motherfucker last night too. That's why I was making sure everybody could hear everybody when we come onto the show today, because like, yeah. Anyway, that being said, Six, anything you got going on?
Nope, nothing.
Script, you got scripts on Saturdays coming up, at least I know that.
Yeah, I have scripts on Saturdays, and I dropped a video, I think yesterday or the day before, where I interviewed Alejandro.
That's right, I saw that.
Martin Marin about his upcoming movie, The Unexpecteds. Paul Chato is my co-pilot there. I want to thank Paulie for getting the final details up there, because I got to meet Alejandro when I was out in LA, and we had a fun time. And yeah, he was excited about his movie, and so you get to learn a little bit of insights on indie filmmaking from his perspective on that video. And then scripts on Saturdays this Saturday. yeah, kind of got an interesting type of thriller where it's like a criminal matriarch is coming back to basically spank her kids. It sounds like a comedy, but I think it's supposed to be played straight.
Weird.
When are you guys going to do A-rated B movies again?
We should do some.
Yeah.
Those are awesome.
Well, I mean, I've been doing a ton of hiring over the last 2.5 weeks. And we're trying to get things settled up because we're going into production on a couple of things up here. Plus, there's the summer season, so we're going to have some higher traffic. So I'm trying to get all that in order so I can actually have some days off.
Yeah, I hear you. I try to find time to eat and sleep as well. So.
Oh God, I haven't eaten yet today.
Yeah, I just ate a little bit ago. So I stopped at the restaurant earlier before physical therapy, and I regret it. It was the worst physical therapy session ever. I felt so like blah the whole time.
What are they physical therapizing on you?
My whole self. I need to be a new person. Mainly just learning how to do
from within.
Yeah, I know. Mainly just doing exercises without destroying my back or my knees.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's tough.
Yeah, because of my size. So yeah. Anyhow, that being said, yeah. So you'll see me on the morning show at least. Other than that, I have no clue for sure, so I don't want to commit to anything at the moment. I don't even know if I'm going to be on the TNT later on tonight or not. We'll see. But yeah, I just want to reiterate one really funny Gene Hackman story before we go. It's just a great story, and it's a Superman related one. So
I know exactly what you're talking. So take it away, sir.
Go for it. I was gonna say, okay, I'll take it. So basically, when he was doing the movie, he didn't want to shave his head, but they talked him into doing bald cap with the idea that he would have these elaborate wigs. The other thing, though, that Gene Hackman didn't want to do was shave his mustache, because at that time he famously had a mustache. And Richard Donner says, all right, I'll tell you what, I make you a deal. If you shave yours, I'll shave mine. Gene kind of, all right, fine. So he shaved the mustache, and he comes out, and he goes, all right, Richard Donner, the director of Superman, he goes, I did it. Your turn. He goes, oh yeah. And he just pulls off the fake mustache.
Yep. Gene Hackman got very angry at first and then started laughing and said, okay, I know what type of movie we're making. We're going to have some fun. And they did.
You son of a bitch.
Yep. In fact, what's funny is that they had such a good time that when Superman 2 was being shot after it was Donner was replaced, Gene Hackman did not show up for any of those extra pickup shots.
Yep, he was one of the ones in solidarity. And I mean, what's her face who played Lois Lane? Margot Kidder would have, but they were going to sue her if she didn't.
Yes. Actually, Hackman was threatened with the lawsuit. He said, try me.
Sue me, bitch.
Yeah.
But I think he was also aware that they would have to pay him more. And then like, because Brando, they had to pay more for this because they didn't know the rights the way they should have when they went into that whole endeavor. And then they get in trouble for doing the same thing with 3 and 4 Musketeers.
Lester does not. Lester gets involved in negotiations and he screws up. The same with the Salkinds. Like they don't know what they have when they have it, and they also don't know how to budget. I mean, it was a huge endeavor for them to be like, yes, we can shoot part 1 and part 2 of Superman back to back. And Donner was like, okay, it's going to be a big job. It's going to be a lot of money. And after they get almost halfway through Superman 2 and they're cutting together Superman 1, they're just like, yeah, we're changing the ending of Superman 1. We're going to do the ending for Superman 2 as Superman 1, and we're firing you.
And we're out of money.
And we're out of money. So yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, it was a voice impersonator of Gene Hackman's that was actually dubbing in Superman 2.
A very poor one.
Yeah.
Because like mushness, taxmonger, mush.
And you know what's funny? I actually figured this out recently after having watched one of the 3 Musketeer films that Richard Lester meant. But Richard Lester was actually a type of director and cutter of his shots, the type that you see today with modern cinema, where there's a lot of quick or fast shots, and if there's a long one, it's really a locked off camera, and there's no camera choreography. And if you guys haven't seen this, so Tom and I did a watch of Superman the movie months ago, and we caught that one long take in the Daily Planet that starts in Perry White's office and ends at the elevator.
There's a couple of them, yeah.
And that is true cinematography. It's a true art form of acting and directing. And we were remarked, like, you don't see shots like that in movies anymore. they're so rare. But growing up in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, they're actually kind of rather common. They were so well done that you never clicked that they were a single take, because you're so invested in watching the characters perform. But today, I mean, just recently, the Winter Soldier highway fight scene debuted, and if you watch that scene, there's like 36 cuts in that scene, because every single physical action is its own cut. It's its own center on frame. There's no wide shot. You can't see any real choreography. You just kind of see brief moments of action spliced together. And I think that kind of ruins the intensity later on as you watch it, because it works for that first time view because your brain's processing it. But after your brain's kind of process it and you watch it again and again and again, you kind of lose that momentum, and you kind of lose that, oh, wow, that's really impressive aspect, because you realize they spent 2 hours setting up the camera and saying, okay, Bucky, you're just going to swing your knife at Steve Rogers' head, and Steve is going to block. And then they do that, and then they get a new camera movement, new camera angle. They're like, okay, now Steve, you're going to punch back. And then they do that, and they do it again and again and again. And it's no real choreography like what you get in a classic Kung Fu film, or what you would have gotten in pre-Born Identity films, technically. Because that's
the closest I've seen it is I watched the making of Nosferatu, and some of the shit that I saw in that, I was like, Jesus, I can't believe that they were actually making a movie like they used to make movies.
Yeah.
Like, so much of that movie was put together in such the traditional way. Like, they even had sets built for specific camera moves. Where like the sets would separate. Huh?
They built a town, didn't they?
Yes, like half it or a quarter of a town or whatever you want to call it. Pretty much a town. Like a small town, whatever.
Yeah, like a road, like Cooperstown.
Yeah. Visburg. Yeah, they built Visburg. And then, like they have this in her bedroom, it actually separates out to where they can move the camera in a certain way so they could swing around from her getting up out of the bed to her walking up to the window to her elevated, all that done with one camera move. They have a room to where the walls actually separate and move with the camera. And it looks seamless because you don't see the move, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like, with the whole, when you turn a room upside down and you have a camera locked off. So the camera is technically locked off, but it's like on a dolly kind of system. It was just crazy seeing how they put it all together. It's like, wow. And you wouldn't even notice that they had to do it. Of course they had to do all that shit just to do that. But like your brain, when you're watching it, you're just like, oh, we're so used to seeing everything done with CGI and everything else. It's like, to do that physically was just insane. But then I also seen on the other side where they saved so much money by not using so much CGI, by doing more practical sets and other practical effects.
Oh, yeah.
And things.
It's been a miraculous revelation to a lot of newer filmmakers and even some studio execs to realize that, hey, the more stuff you get in camera, the less it costs on the back end.
Right. Well, that's why, anyway, I don't want to get down that avenue because we got to get rolling here.
Sure.
We got Obi-Wan Cannoli who says with $5, hey, Tom, are you a rock type Pokemon? Because I could be your Geo dude.
Aww.
Yeah. We got. Well, thank you. It's post Valentine's Day, but yeah. I don't know what that is. I just know they're little monsters that are in your pocket and you fight. I don't know. Something like that.
Yeah, pretty much, I guess.
And Pikachu.
Yeah. My experience with Pokemon was very brief because it was my kid cousin that played it on those Game Boys, and I played with her.
Squirtle. I know one's named Squirtle, and he's like a turtle.
I just remember the game where people would be walking around with their phone.
Yeah.
Trying to capture Pokemon Go. I think
Yeah,
was.
there are people that end up going to bad neighborhoods looking for Pokemon only get robbed.
Yeah. Fuck off, I'm playing Pokemon here.
Give us your money or die.
I'll die later. Just shut up. I'm looking for a fucking Pokemon. Oh, shit. Anyhow, it's a play on. I figured as much. I don't really know too many of their names to get the puns usually. So like, yeah. But with that, let's break this down and say goodbye to everybody. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you next time. Cute kitty.